Am I live? It looks like I am live, people. Hello, we're starting with 50 people. That's pretty fantastic. How's everyone doing today? Thought I'd surprise the world with a live stream, and I wanted to thank all of our subscribers who are subscribed, and they're going to get notified about this right away. All I did was send a tweet about this. So if you're here, it means you're a subscriber. So thank you very much. This is my reward to you. You get to ask any question, and I'm going to do my best to get back to any question. I don't know everything, but hopefully I'll be able to give you some insight into things today. So let me go ahead and check this out. Cool. All right. I already got some comments and some questions. So just so everyone knows, feel free to ask any questions you want in our live stream. I'm not going to be checking our other platforms today. Maybe next time I'm going to see how this goes, and maybe next time we can see about live streaming to multiple sources like PeerTube and Odyssey, and maybe even allowing you all to communicate from our communities. But for today, we're just going to stick with the live YouTube to keep things very simple. So really ask anything you want, and today I'm just going to be going back and forth and trying to go through everything. And now OBS does not have my live chat up, so I'm going to manually add that real quick. 1 second, everybody. I'm going to try to make this as good as I can on the spot. All right. So we are going to do this pop-out window. There you go. Ah, that's the wrong one. Cool. All right. There we go. So now you have a little chat menu, and I'm gonna scoot myself over. Whoa, hello everybody. And now this doesn't make much sense. So let's move the window capture. Boom. All right, we're good. Now I'm gonna get back to your questions. So feel free to go ahead and start going. We're gonna go one at a time. So welcome, Profil. Nice to see you on here. What's the best VPN out right now? That's going to depend on your use case. Of course, like everything, it depends. So go ahead and check out our VPN tools. What I haven't told you guys is I actually have a browser window. So I will be showing you things along the way when necessary. So I'm gonna go ahead and boop. So if you go to our website, techlore.tech, and you're gonna go to VPN Toolkit, VPN Chart, this is probably what I think is one of the best resources on the internet for finding VPNs. You can go here and you can see what VPN fits your use case the best. This is all open source. You can check all this data. If you find a mistake, please report it. It will be updated to be fixed. But you can go through here. This is all based on a universal protocol. And I think if you go through these, you're going to find which one is probably going to be best for you. There's really no like best overwhelming VPN for everybody. Let's go ahead. I want to move semi-quick today because I feel like there's going to be a lot of questions. Is Nord any good still? I think, again, it depends. I hear a lot of good things about Nord when it comes to streaming capabilities or speed or just sheer server counts. But if you're looking for privacy and security, there's probably some more trusted services out there that have dealt with less issues than Nord. That is what I'll have to say about that. We make a video on Element 1. We talked about it in surveillance support. For those who don't know, Element is a matrix client. It's an open source matrix client, and Element just released something called Element 1, which essentially takes the bridging service where you can communicate between Element and things like Signal and Telegram, WhatsApp, really any other messenger for the most part that you know of. It allows you to bridge between them. So if your family members are stuck on WhatsApp, you can actually communicate with them via Matrix without needing a WhatsApp account. It's pretty cool. Element 1 essentially makes this a little bit simpler, and it's their own service. I don't think it's personally something we're going to cover just because in the scheme of the whole privacy world, I don't think it's that big of news, but it is something cool, and we'll keep an eye on it if it's something that needs to have content made about it. We will likely be covering Matrix a little bit more extensively in the next couple months, which I know some of you will be looking forward to. Almost shut down my PC for the night. I'm glad I didn't. Do not want to miss this. Well, I'm glad you're here. More people that we have here, the better. So I'm very happy about that. Best mobile internet for laptop, preferably anonymous. Well, none of them are going to be anonymous. I'd first define what anonymity means to you, because internet inherently is not going to be anonymous unless you do a lot of things to make it anonymous. So just going out and buying any internet probably isn't going to be anonymous if it's following you around everywhere you go. So, however, if we're going to go for a very simplified approach and you're just looking for basic mobile internet for your laptop, your options are going to be getting some kind of cell plan for your phone that is going to be a hotspot, or that you can use as a hotspot if your phone supports that for your laptop. And I'd probably take a look at Mint Mobile if you're in the US. You can get it with cash at like Target and Best Buy. Or if you want something a little bit more robust that is actually built for probably more laptop usage, check out the Calyx Institute. They develop CalyxOS. Calyx Institute has unlimited LTE hotspots, and I have one. That's how I do a lot of the work for Techlore, actually, because I don't do a ton of work from the office. I do a lot of work when I'm on the go, and it's unlimited internet, and it comes out to, I think, $40 a month. It's pretty spectacular. Another question, how to get past Proton's SMS verification. One-time numbers all being used, can't find any. I believe Proton requires SMS verification based on some automated system they use to try to pick up spam so people aren't spamming for free accounts. If you're going through Tor, you're probably going to need an SMS number, or you're going to have to pay. I don't know what the workarounds are for this. I haven't extensively tried to get around those, so I'm probably not the best person to ask. How get Gov to stop being my biggest security risk by releasing my personal info to everyone. Probably preventing them from getting it in the first place. If we're talking something like the DMV, you're going to want to make sure DMV, if you can, doesn't have your real address. They might not have to have your real phone number or your real email. As for things like your identification, those aren't things you can really hide. So the best you can do without going into more of a higher threat model is just limiting the information you're allowed to give them. And that's really the best you can do. And set up security settings when you can as well. A lot of things have extra security if you ask for them. They are not a default, typically. What can be done to protect my phone from Pegasus? If you're asking, you're probably not having to worry about Pegasus. Pegasus, as wild as it is not something that's affecting 99.99% of people. That doesn't mean that won't change in the future. It's just as of right now, that's not something I'd be concerned about. There is a tool online, but I can't think of the name. But if you search it online, it's a tool that was developed to be able to check if your phone is infected with Pegasus. I actually do not know, as of right now, the best way to prevent getting Pegasus on your phone, simply because it's not something many people have to worry about, most likely. Has Proton only ever asked me for CAPTCHA verification? Yeah, so Proton normally just does a CAPTCHA verification, but if there's some kind of something that triggers their automation systems, then you might have to do some other kind of verification. You mentioned Bluetooth recently. I'd like a lot more info about the security risks, also the risks of AirTags and tile trackers. I really don't understand that tech. So first before even talking about Bluetooth, just generally speaking, radios, which includes Wi-Fi, cellular, GPS, Bluetooth, and as of more recently, NFC, which is used in things like Apple Pay, Google. Pretty much any pay uses NFC for the most part. For the most part, in the privacy and security world, any radio is something that you should try to avoid using, because almost every radio has its own exclusive security risks and or privacy risks. Bluetooth is a major one of those. So Bluetooth, pretty much every month we see some kind of major Bluetooth vulnerability. That doesn't mean it's inherently an insecure protocol, but it kind of is. Like, if we really look at the history of Bluetooth, it's just a very messy protocol that has suffered so many security issues. What you're referring to is the very recent news that came out about the privacy risks of Bluetooth, which there's always been, to some extent, privacy risks with Bluetooth, but these ones are a little bit more concerning, considering they can really start tying together the places you're going because of your unique Bluetooth fingerprint. So we've always said, when I say we, I say like Techlore, like the new oil will say this. A lot of people will say just try to avoid using radios as much as possible. Just because there are normally always going to be associated risks with any kind of radio, to keep this as simple as possible for this live stream. As for AirTags and tile trackers, I know there's already been some good research, but these are very early on in production, and those things might have already been patched. I just think it's a little bit too early for us to tell AirTag specifically what all the concerns are going to be. And I'm also very unfamiliar with all the concerns myself. So not something I want to cover in this, but it's something I'm going to keep an eye on and we can make content on in the future as things begin to develop. I think Apple already patched the Pegasus exploit, right? Most people didn't really have to worry about it anyway. Yeah, exactly. Most people didn't have to worry about it. I actually do not know if Apple patched it. I do believe that. What you said makes sense, but also I can't confirm that over live stream. I did not hear about that. Hello, Impolite Cat. I've seen your... Is that a... Gosh, I'm going to sound like such a boomer right now, but I've seen Beluga, the YouTuber, have this profile picture, and I don't know if this profile picture originated from a meme or from Beluga or just something totally unrelated. So if someone can fill me in, I'd love to learn something new today myself. Profil, I know you're my biggest fan. We need to meet up sometime. I love this and what you're doing. Totally, bestie. Thanks for joining again. Really grateful for this channel. You're godsend when it comes to privacy security. Please continue this amazing work. Totally. I love doing this. So it means a lot to hear people also say they love it too, because that just makes it twice as good. I use WinScribe and typically connect to West Coast servers. What do you use, Android or iOS? I use a custom ROM. So in short, I am team Android. Though technically we have an iPhone laying around that is exclusively used for a certain social media platform that is Techlore related, that is secret, that I don't tell people on other platforms because the goal is to get them off of that platform. I don't want to say it because then it's in some way promoting it. But we are on a social media platform where we make video content, and the video content is about privacy and security risks about that platform and other platforms with the goal of moving them off of there. And I'm not talking about it, and you're not going to find it on any of our website or related information because the goal is for people not to find it, except the people who are already on there. I just ordered a Motorola Razr V3, a BlackBerry Torch, and a BlackBerry Bold. Good for you, Impolite Cat. I hope you enjoy that. Are you planning on installing anything on those or just using them as stock? Is Google Authentic? I'm guessing you mean Google Authenticator sending out any data, or is it fine to use? So actually, this is where I'm going to probably ruffle some feathers. Of all the Google products you can install on your phone, I'm going to say that Google Authenticator is probably one of the ones that's totally fine. I have used Google Authenticator in the past and have analyzed the web traffic, and it's never even attempted to connect to the internet. And even if it did, what's it going to share to Google? The seeds for your 2FA codes, which yes, should be kept local by default by all means. But if you're concerned with some kind of privacy risk, I think it's mostly fine. Now, if you're on a ROM like CalyxOS, you can actually completely block the internet of Google Authenticator to 100% ensure it's not even going to leave the device, even if you tried. So those are my thoughts on Google Authenticator right there. I think it's fine, but here's why I would tell you to get off of it. Because they don't let you take your seeds. And for those of you who watched our 2FA guide, you'll know that that's like my biggest gripe. Your app that you use 2FA with should let you export your seeds, and Google Authenticator doesn't let you do that. So I would recommend, as soon as you can, moving over to either Aegis for Android or Raivo for iOS. Raivo is R-A-I-V-O, and Aegis is A-E-G-I-S. So I still recommend moving off of Google Authenticator, but not necessarily from a privacy perspective, just a usability and like freedom of the open standard perspective. I'm going to go ahead and read the comments here first because they donated, so I should like reward that. Thank you guys. What email service do you suggest to use for heavy email usage? Oh man, I'm gonna ruffle some feathers here as well. I love Proton Mail. We use it for our business. That's what everything Techlore goes through Proton Mail. So we have a team account. All of our team members are through Proton Mail. I can manage them with an admin account. I don't know if it gets heavier than that for email usage. That's how we do all of our business, and that's how we conduct everything. And we did explore Tutanota as well. We tried Tutanota, and it just didn't work for us as well. So I would check out Proton. I would check out Tutanota. There's Postio as well, and there's also mailbox.org. Actually, Postio. Don't go for Postio based on this live stream. Please don't. Just do Proton, Tutanota, mailbox.org, and also consider self-hosting if you have that capability. But there's issues with self-hosting as well because you have to maintain it and keep it secure. So really, check out Proton Mail. It doesn't fix all of email's privacy and security issues, but it's still a great improvement. Yes, I follow you on TikTok. What about it? Well, I didn't want to say that we're on there to get people off of it. But you can go ahead and check that out, but don't subscribe or use it. I do encourage you to delete it. That's the whole point of us being on there. Let's go back. I'm curious about how a person can remain private and secure while being an entrepreneur. Like how are businesses set up in a secure way? Oh, sorry, did I skip some things? I did skip some things. I'm sorry, everyone. I thought this was the same question as because they are the same question, so I got mixed up. Everyone's asking the same question. I use a custom ROM. I think that answers the question pretty well. Is CalyxOS or Mac better? Again, really going to depend on what you're going for here. Very different operating systems for very different use cases. CalyxOS is going to allow you to really compartmentalize things accordingly because you can essentially set up a VM for everything on the fly with cubes. It's great for that. macOS is kind of a nice daily driver for just a basic privacy and security perspective if you're not looking to keep things too complicated. But they really are aimed at different threat models, different use cases, so many different things. I don't even want to answer that question because it's not even, in my opinion, a good question. Now, Larry, if you want to ask me and give me more context of your situation, that might be a better question to ask. But this is just a very oversimplified question that it's just a very hard question to answer. I think it's a flawed question. So try to apply this question more to like a broader threat model or something more tangible to help you out there. How safe, unsafe is using Bluetooth for sending files, keyboards? I think if you're at home and you're in a safe environment, using Bluetooth is fine. I'll use Bluetooth in my car when I'm driving. I'll use Bluetooth at home if I need to transfer things between two devices. I just think the main concern as of today is just keeping Bluetooth on all day and just leaving it on 24/7. Even then, you're probably going to be fine. Again, all these things are theoretical risks. So even if you do that, you're probably going to be fine. But it's still recommended to do as much as you can to prevent any possible issues from arising. Have you heard of NotSure? I have not. Hey man, wanted to say I've been showing your videos to my boomer coworkers, like want to be private, but don't know how to. Thank you for all your great advice. Totally, and I really am glad to hear that because the whole thing that we try to do is make our content as approachable as possible. And so every time we hear that like this works and like we can, you guys feel comfortable showing it to people you know IRL, that really like is great feedback for us. Are you streaming from Linux right now? I am not. There's a very good reason why we don't use Linux for our production workflow and our work devices. You must cover it if you haven't. NotSure. There's a lot of operating systems we need to cover. Just saying. Do you think with Alexa, Google Assistant, etc., recording things that advertising now uses real-time conversation? I mean, the main argument I saw against it was that a lot of data to process. This is hard. I don't think we've received concrete evidence that these devices are using real-time conversations to target you with advertisements. However, I would expect it to come out in the future that something either like this or indirectly tied to this will come out. I think it's already very obvious that if you, maybe not exactly what you say is used for advertising, but if you buy a hard drive from Amazon via your Alexa, they now know that you bought a hard drive. You have some kind of technical knowledge. Everything you buy, everything you ask it, I assume will eventually be used to build a deeper profile about you. So maybe not directly yet. That's kind of a legal loophole though. I would just assume yes to make it simple and really just ease your mind, because that's probably the easiest way to answer that question. It's just like, yes, they will in some way use the conversations and the things that you ask it to target you in some way, shape, or form down the road. It's just a little bit more nuanced than that, and it's kind of hard to cover it. Let's go back down to the, what are these even called? I swear, I don't use YouTube. People think I use YouTube because I publish to YouTube. I don't use YouTube much. I don't know what these are called, but they're like the highlighted comments. Obviously, that's why I don't follow you on TikTok anymore. We're going to talk about your Facebook account, though. We don't have a Facebook account. We are unable to set up a Facebook account in a way that works with our threat model as a business. Believe it or not, even though like we're able to have TikTok and whatnot, it's just not possible with Facebook as of right now. Otherwise, we would be on Facebook and trying to get our content on Facebook in some way, shape, or form. Thoughts on the Orchid crypto and its decentralized VPN? I'm really sorry, Marky, but I've never heard of it, and I don't feel comfortable commenting on it. Sorry if I wish I could answer your question a little bit better there. I promise to do research out on it after this video, this live stream. Where were we? There's so many questions. I didn't expect as many people to be live. I'm going to try to go quicker through this. Boom, NotSure. We talked about that. Is using make, okay, where are we? Is there any open source app for Android that allows you to make an encrypted phone call without using the internet and does not charge for the phone call? No, I don't believe that is technically possible. The only one that might technically be able to do something similar would be something like Briar, but that requires you to be like within range of someone or on the same Wi-Fi network. And I don't think Briar does phone calls yet, but you might be able to do audio messages. I don't know. But no, that kind of violates like the way the internet works because you need something to be processing your data. How's the new M1 MacBook Pro treating you? Wonderful. I very much recommend it for like video production. Hey man, please don't delete the stream after it's finished. It won't be, it's still gonna be here. Is using Matrix for Instagram good for privacy? Is using Matrix for what do you mean? Are you talking about Matrix, the federated chat platform? And if so, how does that tie into Instagram? Please elaborate on this question. Hopefully we'll get back to it. Best VPN out now. Is Nord any good still? We already covered this. I'm going to go back to the really nifty. Ooh, look at that. Go to our site, techlore.tech, go to VPN Toolkit, go to VPN chart. I don't think there's a single best VPN that applies to everyone. Go check out our chart. It's all based on an open source review protocol. All the data here is open source. Please report issues if you see anything. And I think that really you can go through this and you can also select multiple and click compare and you can compare directly. It's great. Boom. Calyx Institute. So it's spelled with a Y. So CALYX Institute. Great organization. I fanboy hardcore. The work they do is just phenomenal for the privacy community. All right, I can't wait anymore. I will be donating some crypto tonight. You guys are amazing. Totally. Hey, we only accept Monero. That's the only way to do it. So I hope you do Monero. And our Monero, you can find our Monero at our XMR. Whew. All right, you can find where to send the XMR in the description of this video. What do you think of the lesser of two email? What do you think is the lesser of two email anonymity? Apple's hide my email or DuckDuckGo's email privacy production. I'm going to keep this very simple. And this is going to be a very oversimplified explanation. If you're already in the Apple ecosystem and you're already trusting them with your emails to some extent, just stick with Apple's thing. I don't know I think it's called Private Relay. Just stick with Private Relay. If you're not in Apple's ecosystem, very easy. Go to DuckDuckGo's if you want to use that. Though honestly, instead of either of them, I'd recommend Simple Login or Anon Addy. That's really like kind of like the trump of both of those in my opinion. Check out EmbassyOS self-hosted service. Yep, as I said, I'll go check it out afterwards. I'm gonna have to rewatch this stream and like do research on all the things I couldn't answer. That's how we all learn. If you guys ever become live streamers, I hope you do the same thing. Good morning, Henry. It is nighttime here, but good morning wherever you are in the world. I use Windows without antivirus and firewall and VPN. Do you think it can be reliable? I would still enable Windows Defender if you can. And I don't know what you mean by reliable. But yes, technically you can have a reliable Windows operating system. Just search for it now. It looks interesting. Is there a private way to use Snapchat? You guys need to elaborate more on your questions. I can't read your mind. There's many things that are Snap. It could be Snapchat. It could be the Snap packages. It could be a lot of things. Why do you always push paid services and not teach them how to deploy a self-hosted service? Because not everyone wants to take the time to put together a self-hosted service, and there's a bigger risk of them screwing something up from a security perspective. You hear all the time about full-blown companies, right? Major companies, Fortune 500 companies who expose data because of some cloud configuration issue. And these are full companies with like salary engineers who went to school and have all this stuff done. So self-hosting things isn't always the best option for everyone if they're not going to be able to do it properly. And that's why it's very important for us to realize different threat models and the perspective and what people need from everything you're trying to do. So I always do caution away from, oh, just go for self-hosting option. Don't trust anyone. Just because sometimes you do have to find a compromise there depending on who the individual is. But also, we don't always push paid services. Like, I think you're probably responding to the email stuff. If you watch our top 5 best email providers video, which is a subjective video, that's what we think is the best. The number 1 choice is self-hosting. So, like that, if you watch that video, like, that is our top choice. And that's better than all the paid service options. It's called Don't Log In, Delete Cookies. Is Android 12 any better for privacy? You're going to find some of the basic improvements in mostly the security realm. They do have some new Android 12 privacy reports, but inherently there aren't that many changes from Android 11 that I've seen. Again, I'd recommend reading the documentation yourself, but in my opinion, it's pretty similar. You're going to find some minor improvements, but overall, another thing, there's some visuals now for the camera and microphone when they're activated. It's mostly surface level stuff, in my opinion. What are your thoughts about HCAPTCHA dominating the CAPTCHA alternatives? Not much. I mean, I guess I wish there was more, but it used to be only Google. Now it's HCAPTCHA, and I like HCAPTCHA better than Google CAPTCHA. I guess hopefully one day we'll get more, but I don't know. It's fine. What about airplane mode with Wi-Fi? What about airplane mode with Wi-Fi? Let's expand. Make sure to ask good questions because there's a lot of them. I'm not going to try to take time to decipher all of them. With carriers requiring so much personal info, can you block the info they share? That depends. Getting a carrier doesn't have to involve any personal info depending on the country you're in. If you're in the US, I talked about Mint Mobile earlier, you can get other prepaid plans at just your local Target, 7-Eleven, Best Buy. Just go there and pay with cash and you're good to go. As for what is collected while you use the carrier, you cannot do anything about that. That's why people who are on the anti-VPN train, I go, hey, then how are you going to prevent your internet service provider or your cell carrier from just straight up collecting all your web data? Just use Tor. And it's like, okay, well, if you're on an iPhone, you can't tunnel everything through Tor. If you're on Android, you have to use Orbot for everything, which is going to make everything on your phone incredibly slow. You're going to get captured. Some apps might not even work with Orbot, as I've learned myself. So again, you have to find compromises. Also avoid SMS and phone calls. Try to use things with end-to-end encryption so that way they don't have your communication and they don't have the ability to view your web traffic. That's what I recommend. Which of the tech giants, in your opinion, is the worst and why? Facebook, like without a doubt. I think Facebook is genuinely the most evil company that's ever been on this earth. There is nothing redeeming about the company, in my honest opinion. That's not like some formal Techlore stance, but like that is my opinion. I think Facebook is hands down the worst tech giant. It's no comparison, though. They're all of them are in their own ways bad. I feel like Facebook just is bad in every possible way. Do you recommend anything for personal privacy and security for your home? This is something I'm still learning myself, and so I'm not going to comment too much on it. I will say I do have some people on my list that I want to reach out to get more information on it that are definitely more groovy in that realm. What do you think about Line Messenger compared to the usual suspects? I have never heard of Line Messenger, so I'm not going to comment on it. I think it was Beluga. Okay, so it is Beluga. I'm in a Discord server with Beluga, and he's really cool. We did a live stream together on I Am Lucid's channel if you ever wanted to watch that live stream. I'm on it, though I think Lucid hides his live streams after they're over, though. How can I ensure my privacy in my workplace uses an HR website that uses trackers that don't respect Firefox or Chromium's do not track requests? I'm not allowed to use the HR website at work. That's going to depend on a lot of things. It's going to depend on, is this on a device that's only for work? Without getting too complex, you're going to have to compartmentalize things, right? When you work, you're going to have to use your work software. If you can get that off of your personal devices to whatever extent you can, that's really the best thing you're going to be able to do. There's not much of a solution except voicing your concerns to higher ups and just hoping they do something better. So really, you're going to have to take matters into your own hands and compartmentalize everywhere you can. Does using O&O shut up make Windows close to as secure as Ubuntu? Massive oversimplification question there. The easiest thing I'll say is this will make Windows better from a privacy perspective, generally. That's really it. As for that, it's really hard to compare operating systems like that. They're going to accomplish different things. I would say that if you're really chasing after privacy and you're able to use Linux, I do think Ubuntu will still be a better option than Windows with O&O shut up. But it's a very complex question, and that's something that deserves a lot more time than just a quick answer. Should I use Proton Mail or Mozilla Thunderbird Mail? Well, Thunderbird is a... correct me if I'm mistaken, Thunderbird is going to be a desktop client. I don't think Mozilla hosts its own email, but someone correct me if I'm wrong. So Proton Mail is actually hosting the email for you, and Proton Mail does not have local clients, but they do have a bridging service that might allow it to work with Thunderbird. So actually, if I'm understanding this correctly, you can actually get Proton Mail and use it with Thunderbird if you're on a Proton Mail paid plan. I believe I got that right. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong. It's a meme called Pilot Cat. Okay. Matt, that was like 20 minutes ago. You guys are responding to something. All right. Why do you keep a password manager? What do you recommend to keep a password manager safe? besides 2FA. Just have a strong password. If you're really paranoid, I don't like using the word paranoid. If you want to be more secure, you can have multiple databases set up. And also, you can also, some things like KeyPass allow you to have a key file, which is essentially 2FA, or they can even have hardware keys. So that is an option as well. All right, we got another one. Where is it? Anyways, besties, don't forget to support Techlore. Oh, there we go, by becoming a patron and donating using Brady's VAT system. Thanks, Sammy DePresso. They're one of our patrons, and it's always great to have you around. And thanks for promoting our stuff for us, so I don't have to say it. Let's do a little trolling. All right. YouTube is my only Google weakness. Why people say Google Chrome is a huge security risk. I haven't heard that. Generally speaking, Chrome is actually regarded to be a very secure browser. It's the privacy risks that you should be concerned about with Chrome. Nice hoodie. Thank you. I've had this hoodie for like 3 years or 2 years. It's been a while. And it's one of my favorite hoodies. It's so comfortable. In your 50-second video about using VPNs for SAM, you said it's not recommended. Can you elaborate? I'm not going to get into that in this live stream because that is something that truly deserves like a 10-minute explanation. However, in that YouTube short, I believe there's a link in the description that links to the official Tor docs that explains all the different configurations and the pros and cons to each one. And that is where they're going to give a better answer than I can give you. So I really recommend going there. What's your thoughts on using a rclone crypt with WebGUI on Google Drive instead of a privacy-forced cloud service? I've used rclone. If it works for you, then totally go for it. Those are my thoughts. If you can use it, I think it's a better more privacy-respecting version of Google Drive. So like, go for it. What's your top 3 Linux distros? Ooh, Fedora, Debian, Arch. Those are my favorites. Fedora is like very clearly at the top of my list. Are there any Google and Apple Maps alternatives? There's Organic Maps and Magic Earth. Those are probably your best bet. Also, don't underestimate the ability to use Google Maps in a properly set up mobile browser. Like if you have a very locked down, hardened mobile browser, you can use Google Maps semi-privately inside of that browser that's compartmentalized from everything else on your phone. Don't underestimate that option. Do you know any good QR code verifier apps on iOS? I do not. Though, doesn't iOS... What do you mean by verifier apps? Are you talking about 2FA? If so, 2FA Raivo, R-A-I-V-O, best one. If you're talking about just scanning QR codes, I believe the camera app does that by default. Can you upload a proper tutorial on how to flash new Android 12 custom ROM? I think we're going to avoid flashing tutorials going forward, unless like we're 100% sure it's not going to become outdated within the first week or two that it goes live and it's going to cause issues for people. By the way, we did not do that on purpose. We're accused of purposely trying to make it harder for people. We are not. We just messed up, as humans do. Is Lineage secure enough or nah? You're probably going to be fine using Lineage, and Lineage can actually improve your security because it still might give you updates that you're not otherwise getting via just the software, but not the firmware. But it does decrease security in other places. I think that just saying don't use Lineage because of XYZ security problems is a little bit of an oversimplification. Just be aware of those issues and really take those into consideration when making a choice. Starting a nonprofit with 3 employees and multiple volunteers throughout the coming year. Do you have any suggestions before we start this spring? I want to protect our volunteers from the beginning. That is definitely like not something I can get into right now, just because it's such a complicated thing. If you want more guidance, we do have consulting. That's probably where I'd push you. Otherwise, Go Incognito, the free version, is going to teach you a lot that you need to know. We are planning on doing a business-oriented version of Go Incognito someday. I don't know when that's going to be, but that probably will be something to look forward to down the road. But that's a very complex question. If you really want to work one-on-one, then submit a consulting form, and we may be able to help you. It's very crowded, and I don't accept all clients. Ubuntu Gang, safest way to buy Monero. I don't mind. I trust the Monero technology more than I probably should, so I don't mind just buying it via normal methods and converting to Monero. Once it's in Monero, it should be good to go. But you're going to find some other much better ways of buying Monero, and I am not the best person to ask for that. I don't quite know. There is a great website, Seth Simmons. Seth Simmons has a blog and a podcast called Opt Out Podcast, and he talks a lot more about this. I really recommend going through that. Why aren't you streaming on Twitch since it's open source now? I wish that's how it worked. I wish, Dorian. I have a Pixel 3a and Graphene OS is going to end support for it soon with the next update. So should I go to it anyways or stick with stock Android 12? Consider CalyxOS. They're still supporting Pixel 3a. If you still want to be up to date, check out CalyxOS. It's going to pretty much match stock Android with security, and it's going to offer some privacy benefits. Best for gaming. I don't know what the question is there, Vesty. I love Proton VPN. What are your thoughts on Proton VPN's WireGuard? I actually have yet to use it. I've heard very good things, though, from people in our community and said it's faster. So I'd hope it's faster. It's WireGuard. How to make newer cars don't spy on me, disable those settings. You're just going to have to go through whatever settings are in the car. This is something that we're doing a lot of research on right now. We've been doing research on it for the last several years for those who've been following our channel this whole time. Yeah, someone said try CalyxOS as well, and that's what I'd try out too. How to buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, Anonymous. We have videos on how to do that, so I'm not going to just search up Techlore Bitcoin. It should come up. My Windows 10 is hardened for security and privacy. I play quite a few games. Do you think there's data mining operations? I think that it's very hard to disable everything, and all you can do is try your best on Windows. The best thing I'd recommend is compartmentalizing Windows strictly for those few games you play, maybe in a virtual machine or through dual booting or just a completely separate device. How to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum anonymously. Like I said, just go on YouTube, type in Techlore Bitcoin, and it should come up. Or Techlore cryptocurrencies. We made videos about this. Check out Embassy OS. Heard it. I learned to use VeraCrypt from you and have loved it ever since. And now I'm having fun with Kali Linux on VMware. Congrats! Keep on pushing forward. That's really cool to hear. VeraCrypt is something I use for everything as well. Against Pegasus, Cubes, or Mac, and which better for developer? Again, Pegasus is not something you should be concerned about as an end user, like a casual end user. So I would not base an operating system decision completely based on Pegasus. What do you think of the Framework laptop? I don't think I've seen it. That sounds familiar, so I might have seen the website, but don't remember. How can I safely buy Monero? We have videos on this, again, with cryptocurrencies. We have cryptocurrency videos that specifically talk about this. Is this another Signal ad? We're honest about Signal. I don't know, like people see that as like promoting Signal. It's like, yeah, Signal's a really great messenger. What do you prioritize on Android, a VPN or blocking trackers and apps with something like tracker control? Very personal question, very, very personal question. So I'm going to give you an example here, and it's myself. So for myself, I don't have any non-open source apps that are running 24/7 on my Android device. So there's actually not a single tracker I'm aware of on my Android device. And my browser takes care of all of the trackers inside of my web traffic. And my VPN has its own block list for basic trackers and ads. So I actually have a configuration that doesn't need any kind of service that's offered from Tracker Control or NetGuard. However, someone else here might have a totally different configuration where they're relying on social media applications and very invasive applications. And then you might have to start thinking about, maybe Tracker Control is a little bit more useful for me than just hiding my IP address. It's going to totally depend on who you are, and it's just very hard to make a blatant recommendation like that. Thoughts on Briar? Great, not for everyone, only for Android users, and also for Android users, it's definitely a lot more intense. We've covered Briar in our messenger comparison as well as our top 5 favorite messengers video. And also, we've done a full Briar review. Yeah, I forgot about that. So just type in Techlore Briar. We made a whole video about Briar. They're called super chats. Thank you. Is Discord safe? Generally, no, but that also depends on like what your level of safety is. You guys are going to hear that a lot today. It's going to depend. Right, let's see. Noob. All right, I was just called a noob. Thank you. I don't know. Zcash versus Monero. I like Monero better, but they both have their place. Best browser for mobile. I'm not even going to go there. My parents insist on using Facebook Live. Do you know of any other live stream service that is absolute garbage? Facebook. That is not apps. I assume you mean not. YouTube might be better than Facebook by your definition. There's Twitch. I don't know if that's any better. There's not many great live streaming services, but I think PeerTube has live streaming now. Just throwing that out there. And I believe Odyssey also has live streaming now. So we actually post all of our content on both Odyssey and PeerTube. So if you want to see what the videos look like there, we haven't live streamed there, but we have posted videos there. One of the most underrated channels on YouTube. Thank you. Share it around. That would help a lot. So thank you. Any thoughts on Discord integrating crypto wallet? I haven't looked into it yet, so I don't want to comment on it. Can you elaborate why Linux doesn't work for Techlore? Yeah, so we actually tried to make Linux work for about like over a year. And we did use Linux for our workflow for over a year. And we were using DaVinci Resolve. And DaVinci Resolve is, first off, has very crappy Linux support. You can get it to work. It's based on CentOS though, so you can really, unless you're on Arch and you use the R, it's kind of 50-50 on how well Resolve works on Linux. Now, the big thing for us is I ended up buying Resolve Studio for myself. And Resolve Studio is like $300 and it's officially supported by DaVinci Resolve, and it's something that I want consistent support for. We have to make content, we have deadlines, we have things to do, and it's important that we have support to do that. So I'm only going to stick to a formally supported operating system for the editor that we're completely dependent on. And so really my options were CentOS for Linux or something like Windows or Mac OS. Now, that's not it, though, because Mac OS actually in many ways fits our threat model better than Linux would, especially from a security point of view. And we're able to do things that we can't do on Linux with Mac OS. And this isn't something I can elaborate too much on without giving up too much information about ourselves. But long story short, that's the main reason. The other big reason is we use Affinity Photo as our photo suite, and Affinity Photo does not have support for Linux in really any capacity that we were able to explore. This was actually like a year-long journey, though. We were using Linux for our workflow for a long time, but that was using a Windows virtual machine with KVM and GPU pass-through, and it was a pain in the ass. That's all I'm going to say. It was taking away time that I could have been putting into content for all of you, and it just wasn't something I could justify doing. Do you recommend hosts for static websites? From the research I've done, the general consensus is anything but Cloudflare pages. I don't have much information on this. Not a good person to ask. Why is Chrome being called a huge security? I already answered that one. LOL, like to bridge. Is Tor good on Android? I wouldn't rely on it for like the absolute greatest amount of anonymity, but yes, Tor is good on Android. Will you ever talk about the Intel management engine? I might. The problem is so much of that is based on speculation and not like genuine evidence of anything. And we try to avoid things like that just because there's so little. A lot of our content is based on genuine research. And so it's very hard for us to talk about things in a way that is at the standard we want to talk about it without, I guess, getting to tinfoil hat. But like, I'm not saying these aren't concerns. I'm just saying it's very hard to cover them in a way that we're able to cover them like our other content. I don't have much thoughts about Cloudflare. If it's from Google, then it's a privacy risk. Going to head out for the night. Have a good rest of the stream. Thanks, Prof. Thoughts on NFTs? Should I buy it or not? I'm not here for investment advice. We have not done NFT. I haven't done much research into it. I'm kind of following it here and there. Not a good person to ask. Any good JavaScript blockers? No script. Yeah, no script. So if I'm a gamer and I have a work life plagued with Google, should I use a separate device? You can. You can also use a virtual machine or you can dual boot. You have several options and you can really explore all of them. If I'm a college student, I heavily relies on Microsoft services. Should I switch to Linux? If you can, I would try out LibreOffice or OnlyOffice. I tried out OnlyOffice recently and I'm like, why didn't I use this before? It's so much better than LibreOffice. You can also just try using both. There's no harm in trying both. Thoughts on Zcash? Not many. I like Monero better. That's all I'll say. Excuse me. Any recommendation for how to block ads and trackers system-wide on Linux? You can set up a host file some way. I have not done this. Not a good person to ask. I know a lot of people do use, crap, I'm blanking on the name, Pi-holes for things like this. But again, I haven't done this, so I can't really comment on it too much. How good is PIA VPN? Man, I'm just realizing now that this other scene I set up is really just for all the VPN questions. Techlore.tech, go to VPN Toolkit, go to VPN chart, make your own decisions. I'm not here to give strict advice on what the best VPN is for you without knowing who you are. And I should now go back to boop. At the moment, I'm paranoid about privacy. Do you have advice for someone who is having actual anxiety? Yeah, we made a video recently about the dark side of privacy. So if you just type in Techlore dark side of privacy, that's going to be our recent advice that came out like a week and a half ago. And it's about that, right? Ever going to cover videos more focused on newbies, learning how to self-host? Yes. Keep an eye out for the videos already uploaded and scheduled for November 19th. If you're a patron, you already got all of our... You already know what the video is because we post all our videos and what they're going to be. What if you use the TikTok app without a user account? I would still assume it's tracking everything about you. I've heard Proton's mailing service is pretty good. I personally like it. Greetings, Techlore and community. Hello, Switch to Linux. You can check out Switch to Linux's channel. He posts some good content over there as well. Show. Is using Tails plus Tor plus encrypted USB enough to hide Minecraft? I shouldn't have shown it. I just assumed it was a genuine question, so you got me there. Hey, was wondering if you had tried any decentralized... You know what? It might be a genuine question, though. Just using Tor would be fine for this use case, and I'm going to simplify it. If your goal is to hide internet traffic from a network, using a VPN or using Tor is actually more than enough, and you don't need to do all of this. Was wondering if you had tried any decentralized VPNs. I have not. They actually email us all the time, which for me is kind of a red flag. I don't know if Mysterium has, but I've received so many emails from decentralized VPNs claiming to be the next big thing. It gives me very, like, marketing scam vibes, but that doesn't necessarily mean they are. I'm just telling you, like, what I've noticed. There's been a recurring pattern with people who constantly spam us with their products and what ends up happening, like, 6 months from then. Just putting that out there. It is bad OPSEC to use the same VPN on multiple devices. I don't know if you're responding or asking. How to choose between Debian, Fedora, Arch. Try them all. Safing Portmaster. Roll the dice. The best way to store home movies and pics. Nextcloud. Like off-cloud services. I mean, Nextcloud is the cloud, but it's kind of your own cloud. Otherwise, you're kind of stuck with like a local hard drive solution, which is incredibly inconvenient and terrible. And I'm telling you that because I do it. Henry, may I have your autograph? I'll even donate for it. If so, how do I obtain it? I feel like it's a privacy risk. That's not something I'm formally offering, and that'd be incredibly inconvenient. So I apologize. That's not something I can make happen as of today, but I'll keep it in mind if that becomes something that people show interest in. Your latest videos about VPNs is how to choose a good VPN. You're still standing by those choices. Which video? Yes, more or less, we still have content that I stand by. We actually have a changelog for our content you can find on GitHub that allows us to make like updates to things. We go, hey, this video is not outdated. Here is why we think it is outdated. So it's kind of a learning experience. Best phone for privacy and safest for payment. It's really going to depend. That's too simple. Not too simple, but there's just not enough context to that question. Can you suggest some good open source apps for Android? I don't know, man. There's a lot of good ones. I recommend downloading the F-Droid App Store and just going through all of those. There's an Explore section. It's wonderful. How would you address privacy issues of teenagers 12 to 17? I don't know. Make YouTube videos about it. A large part of our demographic, I think, is between 16 and 26. And so making content, trying to use the tools that they're using is probably a really good way to connect with them. Thoughts on Michael Basil? Any chance of a team up? Yeah, Michael Basil's great. There's been some discussions and some things happen and I can't get too far into it, but there has been a communication channel opened with him, and I think what he does is great. I think you should check out his podcast if you want. I think he makes really good content. Snapchat is vulnerable to exact location. How are you, Henry? I'm doing well. I'm doing really well. Yeah, I'm doing well. No, full disk encryption will not protect against ransomware. Generally not. Yeah, so okay, so there's two things. I'm actually going to address this question with two things. You mentioned in your PinePhone video that you don't use a computer. What are you using for making videos? Did you mean only work computer? Yes, so this is where people really and like, I'm gonna sound like a conceited asshole right now, but I'm kind of like one step above where you guys think. So a lot of something I say is I don't have a Google account, and people are like, no, you're on YouTube, so you have a Google account. And it's like, no, like this is actually like a completely compartmentalized Google account for a business that's completely separated from myself. I do not have a Google account. I am just a person under Techlore, and everything's established that way from the ground up. And it's not easy to do whatsoever. So that is that answer. So I do have a work computer, and it's impossible for me to access anything personal on a work computer, which is where I'm doing the stream from right now. So yes, that is what I mean by that. It is, I don't have a personal computer. I just don't. I have a personal phone, and that's it. That's the only place I'm able to access any of my accounts, and that's the only place I can access anything I do day to day. For fitness tracker, you mentioned Garmin Forerunner 245. Do you need to set it up by creating an account? No. So if you buy a Garmin Forerunner 245, you're going to get it out of the box, and you're going to boot it up, and it already works out of the box. You don't even have to connect it to a phone or anything. It'll do basic fitness tracking just right out of the box, just like that. You will lose out on some features, though. We talk about that more in our fitness tracking video. What do you use to hide your location? I just don't turn on GPS, and I use a VPN or Tor, depending on the device, to hide my IP address. Those are really the two places you mainly are going to worry about with your location. How can I know what information about me has been breached? It's going to depend on what you're looking for. Web searches are normally a really good place to start. Just typing in your basic information. There's people searching websites. You can do have I been pwned for your emails. Yeah. Damn dude, you're the MVP for taking the time. I love seeing education on pricing you spread with passion. No, I'm probably not going to do this very often, so take advantage of this. This is incredibly exhausting to do, so I hope you enjoy it. I have so many questions. I can't believe I just saw you're doing this. Don't ask too many, please. Go for it though. Is there a way to be sure that a company did delete your data? No. What do you think about Tesla privacy? It's not good. But, and here's what I'll say to that. I think Tesla is kind of like the Apple of like privacy, where they're not private against themselves, but I do think they're private against other people. So I think what we're going to start to see with Tesla is very good security of their data, very good control of the data from third parties, but not from themselves. And that's what we see with Apple. Apple's very good about third-party privacy protections, but not necessarily from themselves. So it's an overwhelming amount of trust to put in a single party. Those are my thoughts on Apple for the most part, and those are my thoughts on where I think Tesla's heading. As of right now, though, Tesla really still is in its infancy, in my opinion. And so it's kind of hard to make that assessment because I think it's kind of changing every day. Boo, boo, boo. Open source line. I've never heard of Line, so I'm not going to comment on it. Have you reviewed the Firewall of Gold? I have not. Never heard of it. What do you think about the standard Unix password manager? Pass. I think it's a little too bare bones to recommend as like a password manager, in my opinion. But if it works for you, then go off. It's a great service. Are there any good ways to protect hide my phone number? Yeah, so you're going to have to use something like MySudo or Hushed. I only recommend Hushed on custom ROMs, by the way. That's it. Hushed is a terrible app. Awful. Hate it. So MySudo is kind of the general recommendation for people. There's also some other services, but generally speaking, that's the main like phone number aliasing service. Do you use Hackintosh? I do not. Is Morning Brew safe privacy-wise? Never heard of it. What do you think about the home privacy concerns regarding smart home devices? They're not good. We talk about these pretty much every week on Surveillance Support if you want more of our thoughts on that. I don't really support Brave's treatment of their community, but I still like Chromium. So is ungoogled Chromium a pick? Yeah, or you can use basic Chromium if you disable some of the stuff, or you can use ungoogled Chromium. There's also Vivaldi, but it's source available and not technically open source, but it is source available. Those are pretty much your main options if you enjoy Chromium. You better be using Linux. Let's just say there's certain things in my life that do rely on Linux. But as for the device I'm streaming, we already talked about this earlier. The device I'm streaming on right now is not using Linux. How can you use Google Authenticator on Windows 10? I read about WinAuth last night. We have a 2FA guide that will answer all of your questions. So just type in TOTP Techlore. You will have more than enough information to answer this question. What do you think about AdGuard? I have not used AdGuard. Is Student the most secure email provider? Doesn't encrypt subject lines. So yeah, So Tutanota does encrypt the subject lines. Proton Mail does not. And both of them offer end-to-end encryption to external contacts with a self-assigned password that you then share via a different communication protocol. They're both secure in their own right and what they advertise to do, which is somewhat improve on email. So the most secure email provider, I don't know about that, but yes, this is one advantage Tutanota has over Proton Mail. But I don't know if I'd go out to say that this is the most secure email provider. I don't think I'm going to say that with anything, actually. It's just very hard to oversimplify things like that. How can I tell my friends and family when I hang out with them not to post pictures of me? Just ask them. Be like, hey, I really prefer not to have my face posted online. Can you just ask me before you post it? Just have it like, can you ask me? And then when they ask you, just say no. And then if they don't ask you, that's a serious discussion you have with them. Be like, hey, boundaries, besties, please don't post my photo. I asked you very clearly. What do you think of Brave browser? We had you know what? That's not fair because that was supposed to be an objective comparison. I like Brave. That's all I'll say. I like Brave. I like Firefox. I like most browsers. They're good for different things. And I think Brave is something I really enjoy for just being an out-of-the-box solution. Thanks, Trent. And thank you. I just want my family to have family photos and videos. I really miss burning CDs in movie makers. Hard drives, it is, I suppose. I think you're responding to the question about the cloud storage. And I'm glad that was useful for you. Yeah, hard drives are kind of the way to go. if you're looking to really avoid everything cloud related. Where was I? Where are we? Oh my goodness. There are so many comments. I was planning on being here for an hour and it's already been almost an hour. Oh my goodness. Okay, organic maps. Okay, I'm going to try to go even faster. Is custom ROM safer than stock ROMs? Some of them are. I would say if you're sticking with Lineage, CalyxOS, and a certain other ROM, then yes, most likely. How to stop telemetry data collection in Ubuntu. I believe it's just a basic toggle when you set it up. Ubuntu hate, in my opinion, is very overrated. What are good Android emulators for privacy? Is there a service that shows you all the websites that you've signed up with a particular email? Not that I know of. Not that I know of. What's the best free antivirus? If you're talking about Windows, Windows Defender. It's out of the box. It's already integrated with Microsoft. Just use it. Would you recommend? Never heard of it. Waydroid. Never heard of it. What's your best budget phone recommendation for whatever the cheap? There's like 4 device options or like 5. Just get the cheapest one then. Though do keep in mind how long it's going to be supported for software updates. So you should look at it from a value perspective and not just a cheap perspective. Does iOS 2FA apps let you regain the base TOTP code? Rivo. I've said Rivo like 3 times so far in this live stream. That is our recommendation, Rivo. Are you a programmer? I know very basic programming. I do know basic Python. I do know basic web development, and that's about it. So no, I don't consider myself a programmer, but I do know basic information. Which console are you planning? You can do... Oh, you're not talking to me. Okay, please answer this question. Can't get much info online. Does airplane mode on laptop stop all incoming and outgoing signals? Wait, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. I know airplane mode is useless on a phone. It is not useless on a phone. There was a very misleading article going around about this. On most operating systems, when you turn on airplane mode and you make sure it's off in the settings, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, it is in fact off. And as for your laptop, it's the same deal. If it's off, it's most likely off. Why isn't Monero popular with all the increasing government spying? Are there any superior alternatives? Not that I know of that I can comfortably recommend to people. But Monero isn't popular. Honestly, most cryptocurrencies aren't very popular when you really zoom out and see, like, can you go to the store and use it? Because for most of you, the answer to that's probably no. So I really think that cryptocurrencies need to move to a more mainstream audience in the way that, like, you can actually pay for something at a store with it. And that's why, I guess, trying to do your best and really bringing these technologies to the forefront of your life is a good thing to do. Twitter privacy settings. Yes, they exist. Just go in there and turn off what you need to turn off. There's nothing to, just read the Twitter docs for that. I might skip some questions here and there. I'm sorry, people. There's just so many. Paranoia. Yeah, so look up a recent video we did, Techlore, the dark side of privacy. It really talks about some of the mental side of things there. I'm a recent subscriber. I'm on Linux in the process. Many thanks. Totally. And I'm glad to have you on here. Is there a way to be private in newer cars? Very hard to. This is something that we're doing research on, and we'll likely make content about it in the future. What are your thoughts on BAT? In my opinion, I don't like them in Brave because it's too unpredictable and the value changes too much compared to normal ads. I think the idea and what they're trying to tackle is very important. I think the ad industry just needs a serious revamp, and that's what BAT's trying to do. So I think it's really necessary what they're trying to do. I don't know if their implementation is going to be the best one, though. And I just don't know. Those are my thoughts on it. Just wanted to say thank you. Totally. And thanks for tuning in. I've seen you in our communities, so nice to see you on here too. Is Intel an actual threat? Again, I mentioned this earlier. There isn't enough concrete evidence and research for me to actually come forward and say, yes, these are genuine security and privacy threats. So those are my thoughts on it. And I'm still following this. We might make content on it in the future if we're able to gather enough research on it. Signal for SMS and OTPs. I don't know what that question is. Really appreciate it, Happa. Gold BioCrypt. I have not. I will check it out, though. How do you spoof your user agent on Mozilla? There's some extensions that do that, but I'd ask you why you're doing that. Samsung Knox any good? Maybe if you're in the Samsung ecosystem and you want to ensure whatever security features they have are there, then sure. It's a very, like, what do you mean it's good? Is it good for what? Well, you do it once, there's no going back. If I could go back in time, I wouldn't have shown my face, though. Bitwarden and KeePass. We have a video, Bitwarden versus KeePass. Techlore, Bitwarden versus KeePass. Check it out. It's going to depend on who you are. How concerned would you be with having a password manager browser extension installed on a company laptop? It sounds like you don't have them separated. So I would make sure that whatever you use for work and personal are separate. And that goes for pretty much everything. Absolutely not. Sorry, Harold. Yeah, if that fits your threat model. And if you listen to Michael Basil, you're going to hear that he's going to talk about threat models a lot. And so if you're saying your threat model doesn't call for it, then you might put your time into other things. Like, that's the way I look at it. Like, in privacy and security, in this whole journey that you're going to go through, you need to pace yourself. You need to prioritize what's important, not waste time on the little 1% improvements. Focus on the big things, really pace yourself accordingly. That's how I'd look at things, because you have limited time and energy, and the goal is to not make privacy and security a full-time job. So that's how I'd look at it. If you're just doing things for the sake of doing things, I'd really ask you to step back and really focus on what you want to do. All right, I'm going to skip down to the people who donated. Someone just said, thanks. Thank you for tuning in. Trent asks, what's your opinion on hardware security tokens like the YubiKey? And can you please do a video on these options and the pros and cons in the future? We are currently working on that. In fact, there is a YubiKey currently connected to the computer I'm using to live stream. It's going to be likely a very similar format to the TOTP guide that we released a few weeks ago. Oh man, that was like a couple months ago. My time is just like nothing right now. Let's go back to where I was. Did you see the Robinhood social engineered leak? I sure did, and that's definitely going to be in surveillance support. Delete in the... I'm going to be very strategic with the questions I get back to now. Not this one. Is Indeed worth it for job searching? We're actually developing a job searching video right now. So that's something you should see in the next several weeks. It takes weeks to do our content, people. I have to say that. I'm not attacking you. I'm just saying that in general, because some people are like, oh, you said you were going to do a video. Why isn't it done yet? And it's like, we said we were going to make the video like 3 days ago. Like, a lot of our content takes literally weeks to produce. Like, come on. Give us a break. Can you bring back your YouTube intro from earlier this year? I miss it. No. We moved on. Is saving your passwords on a document or text file convenient? I'd argue no. I'd argue using a password manager is more convenient than like an encrypted document, in my opinion. Who edits the videos? So this is a good question. So we have about 8 videos right now at our current rate. We do about 8 videos a month. 4 of them are surveillance reports, and 4 of them are Techlore videos. Surveillance reports are currently split 50-50 between me and Nathan. So Nathan edits one week, I edit the next week. So I edit 2 videos, Nathan edits 2 videos. And then as for the 4 Techlore videos, 2 of them are done by myself and 2 are done by Tori, who is our part-time editor. You can find information about her on our website and in the About section. That's right. You guys ready? You guys ready? Oh, look at that. I prepped to show you things. So if you go to About, you're going to find information about our team members. So Tori does 2 of our videos every month right now. So that is it. So I edit 4 videos a month, Tori 2, Nathan 2. And lately, though, I have been really working on our trying to get 2 more videos out per month. So those are done by me, which means I'm now doing 6 videos a month, Tori 2, and Nathan 2. That's currently what we're working towards, and that's currently what the rate I'm going at right now. Any apps or services you use or like you haven't covered yet and would recommend to others? I'd have to think about that. I don't want to. Thoughts on, is WhatsApp still okay? I would say no. I'd really try hard to move them to Signal. WhatsApp has a lot of issues. It does have end-to-end encryption, and that's really like the end of the pros for WhatsApp. Are you aware of how easy it is to hack Yahoo right now? Thoughts on hidden beacons? Thoughts on cubes? Yes, threat model. If you're asking, does it depend on your threat model? The answer is almost 99% of the times yes. I'd say yes, just for that question. I would say yes. You don't know what your college campus is doing with the internet traffic, and I would do whatever you can to hide that from them. Yes, it will still be up. How do you get into privacy and security? Well, I started making VPN content, so I was interested in VPNs from the get-go. There's a long story about how that happened as well that I'm not going to get into. But long story short, that naturally led me into the privacy and security discussion. And I read Kevin Mitnick's Art of Invisibility, and I just kind of fell in love with it. I've never looked at things that way before. How long do you take to respond to your consultation requests? It depends. We aim for 2 days. Sometimes it's longer than that, though. We get a lot of requests, and I can only take so many clients, so it's very restricted. We actually turn down a lot more clients than we accept, unfortunately. I wish it wasn't like that. Can I contribute some merch designs? You can use it if it's good. Sure. That's probably like a little challenging for us. Nothing stopping you from using our web form. People already do that and ask so many questions that we don't. It says on the web form, people, this isn't for general support, yet 90% of the emails that are sent are for general support. And I'm like, people, read, please. To expand into the security realm. We may. No comments yet on that. It's something that I'm always thinking about. We may. That's all I'll say. It's not out yet. Though I will tell you, I am likely picking up a Pixel 6 on Black Friday. So Man, I responded to that so long ago. Really appreciate it, Trent. Thank you. No. Maybe because I am. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good site. Good project. Terms of service didn't read. Really great project. Lulu's great as well. I can recommend Lulu on macOS. Very fantastic program. Extremely shitty and should never have happened, and reflects other things they've done. But you should make your own conclusion on that. I already responded to this, by the way. I'm not just ignoring it. The first place I'd start is honestly, like, devices make things so much easier for this. If you can get separate devices for your work life and your leisure life, there's not only privacy and security perks to this, but also like mental perks to it. The fact that you can shut down a work computer and be done with work for the day is a feeling that I cannot recommend more. So that's something I'd really just, it's a good get started point, because once you start thinking about, okay, I have to find a device. Okay, what information do I need to get the device? What information do I need to set up the device? Okay, what programs am I going to install? The device is a great segue into what you need to do. I've watched the whole Incognito series, love it, but I'm becoming so paranoid about security that it's semi-preventing me from working on my PC. Check out a recent video we did, Techlore, Dark Side of Privacy. Just type it into YouTube, it should come up. It talks a little bit more about the mental side of things. Oh, it's just Hushed. Hushed is horrible to use. If you've used it, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's just so bad. Like, the app just crashes. The dialer just. I have so many complaints with Hushed. I should probably just write like a document about it. And also, it's just littered with trackers. It's not a great app. How can I contribute to projects like CalyxOS? I'd recommend reaching out to each project individually, because every project has its own unique needs. And also, a lot of projects will help you along depending what the project is. So CalyxOS actually, I was half jokingly complaining because like a year ago they didn't used to have round icons, and round icons on Android are completely superior to squircle and rectangular icons and all that other stuff. And so I was like, hey, when are circle icons gonna come? And then the main Calyx dev was like, why not? Here's how you do it. So he sent me instructions, and there was still some figuring out I had to do, but he still like really helped me along with the process. And that was technically like my first contribution to an open source project that wasn't something of my own. And so it felt really good. And I think that really just like asking around, you're going to find some really nice developers here and there that are going to really help you along. That was a really positive experience I had with them. Totally. I'm glad you like our content. What's the best alias service for email? I like Simple Login, but there's also Anon Addy. How anonymous is XMPP? Depends how you use it. I would not expect it to be anonymous from the person who owns the server, but it is anonymous in the sense that you can set it up very easily with no information. So it depends. We have a messenger comparison, by the way, like really in depth, that covers XMPP, Matrix, Signal, Briar, Session, all these things. I'd recommend checking out that video. What? Another VPN question. Take a drink. Would you trust Surfshark as a VPN? Ooh, I get to show this off again. Oh my gosh. If you go to our website and you go to resource or VPN toolkit, VPN chart, you're going to find this awesome chart, and you're going to be like, man, is Surfshark trusted? Let's compare it to like iVPN, and click the compare button. And we're going to go through and see, depending on these questions, if it works for me. That's how I'd answer that question for you. But I will say, generally speaking, there are better services from a privacy perspective. Do you respond to all of your consulting requests? For the most part, yes, unless there's something like very clearly wrong. We have had a couple clients who didn't put in their email. It's like, I can't contact you, friend. But yes, we respond to most of them, but I will say most of them are unfortunately denials, just because we really have to be restrictive because there's so limited time. I already mentioned that we're going to do a video very similar to the TOTP guide about YubiKeys. Ooh. Oh no, I hate when it does that. Oh yeah, so okay, yeah, I answered this already. Oh, I'm almost caught up. I'm almost caught up, everyone. Gotta give myself a pat on the back. Yes. I like. If you're on a Samsung device, then sure, use it, but it's not like something that I would really recommend if you're going to use to a custom ROM. Not even, this such a complex question. Anything's possible. You can pretty much bridge everything yourself manually. That's something. We have a bridge set up in our communities that does not use element 1. So there's always an option to do it yourself. If you can get a good deal, why not? As long as you like factory reset it, you should be good to go, unless your threat model takes into consideration a possibly compromised device. But for the most part, you should be fine. Yeah, totally. I'm glad you like it, and I hope you continue watching Surveillance Support. Check out Go Incognito 3.4. Check out Go Incognito 3.4. It talks about different techniques you can use to make your password manager a little bit safer. Are you worried about quantum computers? I am not qualified to answer that question. I do think that it's not the end of the world, and we're going to figure something out before it's an actual problem. How to run a closed source app. I have not, but I am likely buying it soon. Not much you can do, unfortunately. That's why establishing aliases from the ground up is very important, because it allows you to really easily deal with this. If you didn't, you're kind of screwed unless you move to new emails. Totally. Thank you for being a patron for us for so long. Mitchell's been one of our patrons for so long, and you'll see him in the bottom of the outro of our videos continually. So like, join our Patreon if you want to do that. I think it's only for certain tiers. I think it's our 2 highest tiers, but you can be in the outro of every single one of our videos for the end of time. Pretty cool perk that Mitchell has been a part of for a while. Oof. I'll get to you. I see it. I'm going to get to you. It's just I'm so close. I never used it. Actually, in our review, I'm pretty certain I said it. This isn't something I'm going to use. But I think that there's definitely a demographic for people who could benefit from Jumbo. So I would check out our review if you want to get more information about that. Is it worth to use YouTube? I do, because it took us so long to do and people don't use it enough. So I'm going to continue to shill it until people like learn to use it. What is your opinion? I've answered Samsung Knox so many times now. Send more in so he can never leave. Try that and I'll just leave. I do not have to stay here. He looks so sad when talking about VPNs. Just look at the guide. Sure, we've already made a video that compares 3 to Signal. So check out our messenger comparison. You should consider to hire more people. Your enterprise is growing. Yeah, easier said than done. That's one of the reasons why we're getting sponsors. It would allow us to hopefully get more people down the road. But we can't just make money come up out of thin air. We have an Android security and privacy guide. That's where I'd go. It covers really almost everything you need to know about privacy and security from the ground up. So seriously, go check out, type in Techlore Android security and privacy guide. Extremely extensive stuff. You're going to learn a lot. That's what you can do with phones. There's a lot you can do on phones without a custom ROM, and that guide proves it. It's very hard to do for a lot of people. Even for myself, I don't access many sites that are reliant on JavaScript, and it's like it's hard. Okay, so I'm gonna get back to this comment. Is there any way to set up 2FA for logging into a Windows machine? Thinking if my password is compromised, it will add another layer of security. So yes, with YubiKey, and I don't know about other keys yet. I've only used the YubiKey. There is a way to set it up to be required to log into your device. So that is a thing. I believe it works with macOS. I cannot confirm on Linux yet because I haven't tested it myself, but I'm sure there's a way to make it work on Linux too. So yes, I would look at docs and contact support for that specifically though. That might be something we make a video on down the road, but no promises. So I will get back to you. I don't know if this is a large donation, but either way, thank you for the donation. That's so awesome. Surveillance reports are the only thing that happen to my Mondays. See, for me, the goal is Sundays. They're supposed to be uploaded Sundays. But sometimes they happen on Mondays, but if it's a different time zone, then yeah. Do you intend to preserve your body for future generations? You guys are so interesting. I use the VPN chart and have pointed some friends to it. That's what I like to hear. Thank you. Thank you. Spread the word. Yeah, Amazon's actually like really easy to use with private information. So you can set up an Amazon with just an email. So you can use any email. You can ship to an Amazon locker and you can just go to your store and get an Amazon gift card. Boom. You're solid. That's it. They do sometimes require a phone number. Then you can use something like MySudo for that. It's very straightforward. You could use a PO box, but like Amazon, use Amazon lockers. Just pick it up. Oof, oof, oof. Are you... Totally, man. Really glad you like it. Oof. I think it depends on your configuration. That's kind of a loaded question without like getting too much into what is on that device and what you're trying to keep safe. But generally speaking, as long as that, if Signal's a personal thing that you're putting on your work computer, I would caution you from doing that. If it's a Signal only account, then I'd say why not? What's up, Henry? Could you share your thoughts on the page Dig Deeper? Like, okay, I'm sorry to burst your bubble here, but really anything, not anything, but like 95% of what I've seen that's hosted on Theocities is like kind of BS. So that's what I would say. I think this specific site, I've seen 1 or 2 points, but there's a lot of unverified claims. There's a lot of points that are definitely dramatized, and there's just a lot of things that I don't necessarily agree with that aren't necessarily objective either. Not that we're always objective, I'm not trying to say that, but that's kind of, you're asking for my thoughts, and those are my thoughts. It's something, I pretty much steer clear of most things with Theocities. I haven't seen many trustworthy sources come from there. Personally, I know it's just a host, and anyone can post there. I just haven't seen much that's like very legit from there myself. Why do people, it's a great question. You know what? I like that question. Why do people combine VPN and Tor? I think because they think it's safer, right? More is better. If I combine a VPN and Tor, it must be better. It isn't always better. In fact, a lot of times it isn't, depending on whether or not you know what you're doing. So, yeah, it's a good question to ask. I think we need to ask that question more. Yep. Thank you, Trent. Rip Henry, too many questions. I'm actually almost caught up. Look at this. So you guys aren't going quick. Don't, please do not challenge me on that. You keep saying this. I have not. Look into the deeper network. I shall look into it. I store them on Samsung Notes. Is there a suggestion on Privacy Notes, which has more features? We just made a video on private note-taking options. Go check that out. Techlore private note-taking options is the search term. What do you think about CRISPR technology and the ethics? That's such an interesting question. Definitely like not what I want to talk about tonight, though, or else I'm just going to be talking about that for like half an hour. But very cool question. I recommend everyone looks into CRISPR and reads about it. It's very interesting stuff. David Dobrik. Okay, I'm going to look, and if it's PG, which I think it is, I am going to turn it to my super handy dandy window that I set up before I started. Let's see if you are correct. All right, I don't agree, but I'm going to show you what I see. I guess a little bit. Yeah, like I'm looking at that top right one a little bit. I think the hair, that's about it. Checks out. That checks out. Okay. Valid opinion. Yes, absolutely. I use it for everything. Love it. Literally, we like half our work just like wouldn't be done if it wasn't for that Calyx hotspot. I use it everywhere I go. I love it. In fact, I'm probably going to be ditching my home ISP very shortly to only use the Calyx hotspot for everything. Love it. Cannot recommend the Calyx Institute hotspots enough. Why give Google more money with a Pixel phone and not a different Android phone? Because it's your ROM options that have the privacy and security standards that are going to be found on a Pixel just don't exist. If you're going to use a ROM with privacy and security at the forefront of it, which is CalyxOS and a certain other ROM, you're going to have to get a Google phone. That's just the reality. There is a new ROM that we saw that I don't want to mention yet because I haven't done enough research on it, but there is another one that has very similar device compatibility to LineageOS with some better security. That's something I will update you guys on as I look more into it. Oh my gosh. We got another one. Is Nord a good VPN? You guys know it's coming. Those of you who have been here know it's coming. If you go to techlore.tech and you go to VPN Toolkit and you click VPN chart, you're going to find this wonderful chart that I've never talked about before. You can click up to 3 VPNs and click compare, and you can see if a VPN is good for you. Super cool. Super not going to mention it again vibes. I learned digital minimalism from Techlore and I love it. Less is more. Yes, yes, man. If there's like two things, if I wasn't so passionate about privacy, I would definitely have a YouTube channel about either running, I love running, or digital minimalism, just that. I spend like a large part of my energy and my days just focusing on digital minimalism. And it's just so nice that it naturally leads into privacy because less is generally more. But yeah, love it. Can't recommend it enough. Quick guys, send a lot of questions. We do a little trolling. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Stop skipping. Is there a way to purchase a mobile hotspot without being tracked? CalyxOS, or no, Calyx Institute. You can buy it with some cryptocurrencies and you can ship it to like maybe a private address that you have. They also do, I don't know if they still do this, but I know they showed up to some conferences and you can buy it there IRL. I'm pretty certain. I can't use privacy.com, need alternative, please. That's really, I think Abine, A-B-I-N-E, Abine has a service called Blur, which also has disposable debit cards, as well as MySudo. MySudo also has disposable debit cards, but I think all three of those options are US only, if I'm not mistaken. So if the reason why you can't use privacy.com is because it's only US, excuse me, that's still going to be an option, or that's still going to be an issue. Yes, we do want to make Raspberry Pi constant someday, so that will happen someday. Totally. I'm glad Signal works well for you. All right. Thank you for the donation, and let's get to your question. What is the biggest mistake you see privacy noobs making when trying to be more private or trying to be more anonymous online? Things that they might think is private, but really not. So, okay, for the easy question there, if I'm ignoring the second half of your question, the biggest mistake is doing way too much, way too quickly, like way too much. It's very easy to go into the rabbit hole, like very quickly, and it's a very like tempting thing to do. Here's why it's not a good idea. One, you're going to burn yourself out. Pacing is super important. So that's step one. Like, you do not want to burn out in this because, in my opinion, privacy is a lifelong thing. It's not something that you spend a month on, you get it to a point you want to, and then you just leave it and forget it. It's something that you just slowly figure out over time. And that's something that I wish we really stressed more in the privacy community. It's like, you're not going to figure this out overnight. And if you try to do that, you're going to burn yourself out. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to do things that aren't smart, and you're going to do things that are going to waste your time and energy. And all it's going to do is it might have you relapse. We've seen several people in our communities who go all out for a week and then they just say, screw it, I'm going to go back to pretty much everything I was doing because like I did so much and I feel like I still didn't do enough. And that's why I think really having a long-term view and really looking at it from just a step back lens really can help sometimes. So that's the biggest mistake I see noobs making. As for like more specific things, which is kind of the second half, things that they might think is private, but really not. VPNs are a very easy thing to target. I think that like VPNs have a wonderful place in the privacy and security toolkit, but they definitely are not like all-in-one solutions that they're marketed to be. Something else though is I really think that I'm just gonna leave it there. I think it's that. I think that there's a lot of people that think a VPN will take care of a lot of things, when really, I would look at it as really just hiding your IP address from websites you visit, which is very hard to do without Tor, and also protecting your traffic from your internet service provider. And when I say protect, I mean more so transferring the trust from your internet service provider to your VPN provider. Oh. Do you still like WeVPN? Up, up, up. You guys know it's coming. Oh, VPN chart, techlore.tech. Though I will say the chart isn't based on what I like and dislike. That's just based on a protocol. As for if I like WeVPN, I think it's fine. I don't love it. I don't hate it. That's just my personal take. I haven't heard of it, so no thoughts. Is Windows Defender good enough? Yes. Yeah, I don't know. Have you guys noticed? I feel like we should make a VPN chart for our website. What do you think? Yeah, you should ask for sources on things like this. Just FYI. No, unless it's already built into the program. You can try looking for third-party tools online. Sometimes you'll get lucky, but generally speaking, no. That's going to depend on what you need. I don't think Windows 11 is going to be any better or worse for your pricing than Windows 10 for the most part. If you're already on Windows, just do what you need to do. I would recommend checking out our Windows 10. Well, I guess it might be advertised as Windows 10, but it's probably going to apply to Windows 11 as well. Check out our Windows Privacy and Security Guide. Just type in Techlore Windows Privacy on YouTube, and you'll see it come up. It really dives into everything you can do on Windows. It can. Again, check out our recent video, The Dark Side of Privacy. It really talks about the mental side of things. Nothing that Brave has done that I've seen has actually impacted user privacy and security. As for the threat model, then yes, that's a different question altogether. Like, does Brave fit your threat model? And I think that for some people it does, for some people it doesn't. Really just depends. What's your opinion on smart DNS? I haven't used smart DNS providers very much, so I love your content. Thank you. Totally, Nick. I'm glad I exist too sometimes. My Android vendor hasn't shipped the update yet. What are the cases? What is mobile hotspot more? It's not really inherently any better. It's just you can buy it more privately, and also it's just more portable. So for me, it's having one less device and one less account, because I don't have to have a router. And rather than like two people getting my internet traffic, I can just centralize it to one place that I can control. Custom ROM. How can I trust what you say on your channel? Don't like fact check everything we say. And this goes for every YouTube channel. I wish people did that more often though. And we do get a lot of kickback. And I think we do a good job of addressing all those things. But don't take any single person's word as fact. And that includes us. We say this all the time. We do try to be as objective as possible. We really try our best to like really focus on like evidence and research, because privacy is such a rabbit hole that we have to set some kind of boundaries. We have to say, okay, there is evidence of this. We can't just say this could happen, that can also happen. So how do we address all these theoretical solutions and problems? At some point we have to draw a line, or else you're just going to be up day and night talking about this. And that's kind of the focus we have. We like to have a very objective approach to things. And that actually gets a lot of kickback, because people are like, wow, you're saying that this is safe because there's no evidence of them doing anything wrong. And it's like, yeah, that's exactly it. So that's what I have to say. That I don't think you should trust us. I think that you should fact check everything you say and make your own judgment. I'm not going to tell you who to trust. Just learned about MySudo tonight. Thanks, Henry. Most features are available in Canada. Great. Yeah, I hope you like it. A VPN chart sounds like a neat idea, and maybe a scene with a browser window. Yeah, I agree. Fedora. I like Fedora. That's an overwhelming like recommendation. There's other distros too, but like Fedora's great. estate planning. Look into trusts and find an attorney to talk about this. It's kind of a fun rabbit hole to go into. What was the worst thing people called you just because you want? Honestly, I've had really good reception. I don't know if it's because like I do well with handling my privacy discussions in real life, or because I don't know. I haven't had many issues with this personally, so I can't comment on it. If only there was a Techlore VPN chart. I know. What's your opinion on Libre boot? I would probably use Core boot myself over Libre boot. That's all I'd say about it. But check out both, see what you like. What OS is your daily driver? I don't have a personal computer. So I talked about this earlier if you want to rewind and watch earlier parts of the stream. You elaborate on your Discord matrix bridge. So the way this works, and I'm going to totally shill our communities. So we have a Discord and a Matrix community. Matrix is an open source federated community. Discord is just Discord. So we have a bridge. So it's when you join our Discord community, you're going to see people labeled as bots. They have their own profile picture, they have their own usernames, but they're all going to show as coming from the same user. And that's because there's a bridge that's essentially linking all the messages between both communities. So you're able to communicate via like one. All right. Here's how I like to picture it. I'm going to use the Pine phone here. I'm going to use the Pine phone here as like the community. You can communicate to the community with Discord and Matrix, and you can view, it's like read and write access to the central entity. So that's how I like to think about it. You can join Matrix or Discord and interact and see the same exact thing. That's how it works. So you can use Matrix and interact with all our Discord members. That's kind of our way to try to migrate people away from Discord. I've been spreading the last hour and a half trying to buy Monero to send to you. That's how much you rock. Check your wallet. Thank you. We do have our Monero address down in the description if you want to support Monero. If you want to support us with Monero. We receive a lot of Monero donations, so that's really awesome. So thanks, you guys. Do you find EOS kind of sus? Not really, to be honest. They have some issues, in my opinion, but I don't think they're sus. They seem legit. Have you searched one of your friends? Oh yeah, I don't do that like out of nowhere. I don't just text people and go, hey, by the way, here's your address online. But a lot of times I'll ask them, do you want me to do this? And then they'll go, yes. Not a lot. It's happened once or twice. What's your opinion on Libre and Open? I don't know what you're asking. What's your favorite video you've made so far? Oh, that's a great question. I've never thought of that before. Let me go into our studio. Let me look at our recent videos. Like, it depends. There's some videos that I really enjoyed, but they didn't do very well. And I can't help but like put some kind of value on whether or not a video is like externally successful. It's weird. I actually really like our TOTP guide. It's not a favorite, but like I just saw it and I'm like, that's a good video. Our smart TV video is really fun. I think it's a very fun video. Let's see here. Our Become Anonymous guide is going to always be one of our favorites because the Become Anonymous guide had like a month-long production cycle. Anything that I put a month of time into, I'm going to really love and enjoy. So there's that. I don't know. I have several favorites, but those are kind of like my initial thoughts. I also really like our A-Bine review. It was just like, it just had good flow. Good flow. Oh, our Ditch YouTube video is also pretty solid. Honestly, a lot of content we've made the last year I'm really happy about. Excuse me. Is Signal still secure? Yes. We talk about this all the time. Signal is still secure. How can I convince friends to care more about privacy? There's no like answer to that. I think you're really gonna have to try different things, and I would look at it as more of a journey and just slowly like mentioning like why you care about it and why it's important, and just seeing what can happen. I know it's really terrible advice. Like that's not really helpful, but it's a hard thing to do. Oh, I'm done scrolling. Why does nobody recommend ungoogled Chromium? Because it's kind of a pain in the ass to set up unless you're on Linux. That's kind of why. And also extensions can kind of be a pain in the ass too. We do recommend it on Google Chromium. We talk about it quite a bit, but it's just a hard thing to recommend to a large number of people who just want a browser that works. Thoughts on session? We have a messenger comparison that I think really goes into that a little bit better. So type in Techlore messenger comparison and you're going to get a fantastic video. Best open source browser. Really going to depend on who you are, my man. I don't think there is a single best open source browser. Does Google Maps work with CalyxOS? You guys ready? There's something else we do that is awesome that I can also show you. So I'm gonna go back to our screen share. Very handy dandy screen share. If you go to resources, or I'm gonna start from the home page. If you go to techlore.tech and you scroll down and you go to Plexus, all right, give it a sec. We're using Tor here. You can search for anything. Maps. So Google Maps right here. 2 is completely de-Googled, and the U thing 4 is micro-G. So if you use CalyxOS with micro-G, it's a scale of 1 to 4. It's totally awesome. If you click it, you'll get more information. So you cannot add a Google account on a de-Googled phone. There's no reported issues with micro-G. You can search tons of apps. There's Facebook, Facebook Messenger. You can look for WhatsApp. You can look for Subway Surfers. And this is how you know what apps work before moving to a de-Googled ROM. We host this project, and this is an open source project, plexus.techlore.tech. You can also find it from our website. And also, please, people, contribute applications if you are on a de-Googled ROM. There's a GitHub that's linked on the Plexus website right here. You can just click the link on the bottom right. It's going to take you to our GitHub page. And this is where you can contribute your applications. There are instructions here, and we have almost 1,000 apps. So all of you watching, if you're on a de-Googled ROM, you can easily be the person who sends us over 1,000 apps today. Just putting that out there if you need some incentive. I'm now going to switch back to me. Hello. Best video. Let's see. The best video on Techlore is the 4-hour-long Go Incognito video. That was definitely like, that project was so exhausting that like I can't have it be a favorite. Like it's exhausting to even go back and look at it. I spent almost 2 years putting together Go Incognito and seeing that like 4-hour video slowly come together, and it was just exhausting in my life. So it's a very hard thing to do. Maybe it's bad, maybe it's something else. I just hope that we see some kind of alternatives come about. Have you ever looked into Delete Me? We have a whole service on, or a whole video on Delete Me. Type in Delete Me Techlore. You will find a full-out review. It's one of my favorite videos that we've done, actually. I think I mentioned that one. Do you think we will be overrun by our government's need for power over its citizens? I don't know. It's a little deep for 9 p.m. at night for me. Hardened WaterFox or hardened Firefox? I'd recommend just sticking with Firefox instead of WaterFox. Firefox stays up to date a little bit better than WaterFox. Is Fnac Firefox? Yes, it is based on Firefox. They pretty much just remove some of the proprietary bits that is found on F-Droid, for those of you who are wondering. I am unsubscribing because you're not answering my question. Go for it. Do not care. I got rejected from a job because the potential employer couldn't find anything about me online, which he found too suspicious. I have heard that before, so I'm sorry. That's something that we are addressing in our private job searching video that's already in production. It should be coming out in the next few weeks. That's something that we are going to be talking about, is how to search for jobs privately. Would you consider Session over Signal when it finally supports audio and video calls? Again, there's so many pros and cons between Session and Signal. So check out that messenger comparison, which I know you said you watched. Personally, no, just because I still feel like Signal's a lot more polished than Session. And so I think I have a higher likelihood of success with the people that I'm trying to get onto some kind of end-to-end encrypted messaging. So I think it's a higher likelihood of success for me personally. As for you, do what you want and what you think is going to be best for you. I don't really care what messenger you're using. that's another side tangent. People are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're telling people to use this. And I'm like, I literally don't care what you guys use. I'm not telling you to use this or that. You're interpreting me saying it so it's kind of like a classic projection moment when like we don't completely tear Signal to shreds and we just cover the facts. The people who want Signal to be covered to shreds go, wow, I can't believe you're defending Signal. And it's like, we aren't defending them. We just said what happened. And it's funny because when we do that, there's another comment that says, I can't believe that you tore up Signal for nothing. So you have two people saying that we did two completely opposite things. And it's a complete like projection moment that we're just simply not saying what they wanted us to say. Therefore, we must have the opposite opinion. It's kind of hard to read through YouTube comments sometimes because you guys are a little intense. Also, thank you for your great work. What software are you running this chat and sharing the screen? OBS, baby. OBS all the way. Does Mega's source code include what? But yes, Mega, the cloud provider, is source code available for all their clients. Try to get support, not from a YouTuber, please. I'm not like qualified to answer that, and I hope you get support from people you know in real life, and they can point you in the right direction. I'm not qualified to answer that, but I hope you get better. Setting up private, secure, self-hosted. I'm telling you, you should be a patron because patrons already know the videos are going to be uploaded in the next several weeks, and you might have some more insight into that. Just saying. What is your opinion on LinkedIn? It's not privacy friendly, if that's what you're asking. We will talk a little bit about LinkedIn in our private job searching video. Can you elaborate on the way you handle privacy discussions IRL? You know, it's funny. I just do it and I don't think much about it when I do it. So tell you what, here's what I'm going to promise you. I'm going to ask some people I know in real life how my discussions have gone with them. And if I find anything like relevant to share, I might make a video on it down the road. That's all I can promise because honestly, I don't think much about it. I feel like I seem to have good success with it in the discussions I have. I feel like I've good, that's just on my perception of it. But I don't really think about what I do, to be honest. I'm not going to use it. So I'm not really like, I don't really care. I haven't read too much into it, so I don't want to comment on it. But if this is true, it would be a very good and very important thing for Firefox. But I haven't read into it, so I don't want to comment on it. Your thoughts on the Nitro key? I haven't used it. I've done some basic research on it, but yeah. What do you think of the Apple Watch? What about the Apple Watch? Does your Patreon include the job searching video? No, so we're not yet uploading videos in advance. We actually are like almost 2 weeks ahead of all of our uploads, meaning our uploads are like scheduled 2 weeks in advance. So down the road, Patreon will include early access to those videos. But as of right now, it is not. It's simply just seeing what we're going to upload. So it's like a list of our uploads. Do you have a suggestion on services that let you use your own data collected? Services that let you use and own data collected, like web history. I don't know what exactly you're referring to there. Proof they cannot access your... yes, it does. And actually, something that Mega does that I wish Proton did is you can actually install a Mega extension in your browser that runs the JavaScript locally on your machine, meaning it truly is being end-to-end encrypted on your device, which is awesome. So yes, this is legit. There is proof that they do this, and it's wonderful. I do not. I mentioned it earlier. I actually have almost no experience with Pi-holes, and it's something like I really need to get my hands on and really like dive into. Is a YubiKey worth it? There's one plugged into this computer right now. We're going to make a video on it in the next several weeks, whatever that means. Where can I get a Techlore hoodie? Man, that's a good question. I forgot the URL. Is it merch.techlore.tech? Is that a thing? No. Oh, shop. I think it's shop.techlore. I should know this. Shop.techlore.tech. Yes. No. Yes. Shop.techlore.tech. Bestie is where you get our stuff. So That is where you go. Should I show it? I made this really cool thing. I haven't mentioned it, but it's like this screen sharing thing that's really awesome that you guys should totally look at. Shop.techlore.tech. We have very limited hoodie designs though. That's on purpose. Let's see if they block Tor. Do not block Tor. They might block Tor. I think they blocked Tor. I am sorry. The merch isn't handled through us, so we don't have enough like funds and resources and capital to start all of our merch from the ground up. It's a very hard thing to do. So down the road, that is our goal. Then we can actually host things that work with Tor. And it's a little bit more privacy friendly. Does Mega have an app on F-Droid? They do not. Just smartwatches in general. Yeah, so what I'd recommend, we have a video, just type in Techlore fitness tracking. And that really dives into my overall thoughts on just like smart devices and like how to really think about them from a privacy perspective. It really talks about the Apple Watch and smartwatches and these fitness trackers. Congrats on the current success. I feel like you had a big algorithm boost the past couple of months. What do you think were the vids that amplified your channel? I don't think there were any specific vids. I think that we've just been really focusing on making content that was aimed at reaching new viewers. I think something we were really bad about, and it's something that Veritasium made me really like see clearly, is that we were posting videos like, here's why Firefox's scandal did XYZ. We didn't actually do this, but like, let's say we posted a video about a Firefox scandal that happened yesterday. Again, there was no scandal yesterday. This is all made up. But let's say there was a scandal yesterday. 3 months ago, I think we would have made a video saying, here's what you need to know about Firefox's scandal. The problem with that is there's the assumption that whoever's seeing that thumbnail and title already knows there was a scandal. If you look at our titles and thumbnails the last several months, they're very cleverly designed to not do that anymore, so that they're more aimed at people not even knowing like what it's about. So it's a little bit more aimed at just other people. So I actually attribute our YouTube algorithm perks the last few months to be attributed to all the work that we've been doing to really focus on like how are we branding and marketing our videos. That's something we've been really focusing on the last few months, and it's really cool to see you guys notice that, because that's something we were really like focusing on big time. Some benefits using Signal SMS default. There actually is one. And what that is Signal. This is something that I am telling you based on memory. So I actually can be wrong about this. Please look into it further. But Signal, I believe, will actually still do end-to-end encryption locally for your SMS messages, right? So locally, it will give you some better local protection. Now, where I'm going to say, like, does that really matter? In the scheme of things, probably not, right? The biggest issue with SMS is the fact that there's pretty much zero. You should assume SMS messages are public because in transit, they are not secure. However, Signal will make them a little bit more secure locally on your phone. The other thing I will say is that you can actually set up disappearing messages for Signal on your device, though it won't guarantee that it's going to be deleted on the other person's device, obviously. But if you want things to be cleared out every week, every day, every hour, you can actually do that with SMS on Signal. So that's really like the only perks. Overall, use anything you want for SMS. I use it inside of Signal just because it's more convenient. That way I don't have to use two apps. Digital minimalism. Do you think companies will someday discard email for a more secure protocol? It's possible. I don't think email's going away for a long time, no. We have a video that was just out in like the last couple weeks. Brave versus Firefox. Techlore, Brave versus Firefox. Check it out. It will answer your question for you. Hey, thanks for the videos you're making. You helped me learn about tools. Keep them going. Thank you so much. I'm really glad you liked them, and they will keep coming. Trust me. Any other channels you think we should follow? If you go to our channel, youtube.com/Techlore, we are subscribed to a few channels, and I like all those channels, and we somewhat like endorse them. Not actually endorse, but like we like them, and we like the content they put out. Tough one. How do you explain in simple terms the need for security to someone? By the way, thank you for donating, Gregory. Let me answer your question. Tough one. How do you explain in simple terms the need for security to someone who doesn't realize passwords are case sensitive? Asking for mom, maybe. What does case sensitive have to do with security of the password? I'm kind of misunderstanding the question here. How do you explain in simple terms the need for security to someone who doesn't realize passwords are case sensitive? Are you saying like generally a more secure password will have uppercase and lowercase letters, therefore the person needs to understand that they're case sensitive? If so, no matter what you're asking here, a password manager is almost always the way to go for someone who doesn't like know how to generate strong passwords. So if you can move them to a very easy to use password manager like Bitwarden, that might be your best bet. I haven't looked too much into Molly. Generally speaking, though, you're always better off using the original software. Not always. That's actually a really massive oversimplification. But in this case, I would really try to stick with Signal. But also, I haven't looked much into Molly. So don't take my word as gospel for this, for really anything, but especially this. How do you stay on top of staying private? Well, it helps that like privacy is kind of my full-time job. So I kind of have to constantly be doing research and keeping up with the latest news. If you're not like me, I really recommend like relying on resources that summarize things for you easily. You can use RSS to keep up to date with a lot of news. You can follow Surveillance Report, which is our weekly podcast, which covers all the latest things, normally within an hour. So if you have less than an hour a week to dedicate to this, you can really keep up with things really well. Michael Basil has a podcast. There's other YouTube channels out there that cover news here and there. Really, whatever is going to help you with your privacy and security journey, I'm all for. I don't think just started totally. Yeah. Thanks, Cameron. I'm glad you found it. Why Signal and not Telegram? Because Signal beats Telegram in almost every conceivable way, with the exception of how Telegram handles usernames. Watch our recent messenger comparison video. There's a reason why Telegram is not commonly recommended from strictly a privacy and security point of view. Hey, if you want to unsubscribe, that's totally fine. Again, I don't really care. We're going to put out our content either way. I don't really care if you guys want to be along for the ride or not. I hope you are, because I think we've spread good info, but if you don't agree, then go off. It's totally fine. Heard about our Lord and Savior. That's pretty funny. Can you re-answer Gregory Russo's question? The thing about passwords wasn't important. It was just to demonstrate the target. Okay, let me try rereading that then. Got it. Okay, thank you for really clearing up. I didn't read this correctly, so thank you for clearing that up. So just to reiterate what Gregory's actually asking here that I totally misunderstood, how do you explain in simple terms the need for security to someone who essentially doesn't understand technology very well? I would try to make as many comparisons to the real world as possible. So for example, if you're trying to tell them not to give random information to Facebook, they're going to ask you why not. And you go, well, what if Facebook was a random person on the street? Would you tell them your address? Like, would you tell them your phone number? It's like, no, you want to make sure you're only giving it to trusted people. So I would just do your best to really use a lot of analogies, try to make comparisons to things that they really understand, tie it to the real world. There's just a lot of things you have to do that aren't going to be very literal and technical. You really have to avoid jargon. You really have to rely on analogies. And that's just the best. That's the best success I've had, is like really avoiding all jargon. And sometimes it's really easy to like try to be nuanced about things, especially for me. I love being nuanced. But sometimes when someone really doesn't know, you have to take the authority and just go, this is what's better for you. If they go, oh, what browser should I use? And I'm like, oh man, if I move you from Chromium to Firefox, oh, you're going to lose it. I'm just going to be like, here, just use Brave. Please just use Brave. Like, Brave's great. And then I'll install it. I'll disable all the crypto crap for them because they're not going to want to deal with the crypto crap. So yes, I would really just keep things as simple as possible and try to take care of as many things as you can for them that within reason. Do you have good news sources that can be followed via RSS? I do, and it's a lot of them, and I don't want to get into it right now, to be honest. So I'm sorry. If you guys like want that more often, just let me know, and maybe that's something we can make a video on down the road, like how to stay up to date with things. Do you have RSS feed on your website to notify about your YouTube videos? YouTube actually, well, 3 things I can tell you here. YouTube has its own RSS feed. In fact, I stay up to date with a lot of YouTube channels with my RSS feed. It's built into YouTube. Just look it up, YouTube RSS feed on any search engine. You can follow any YouTube channel with RSS. We also post on Odyssey though, and Odyssey has a RSS feed for every channel. We're also on PeerTube. And as you can imagine, PeerTube also uses RSS. So you can actually follow our content from any 3 of the platforms we upload to using RSS. Also, in our communities, we post all our content as well. Also, we're on Twitter, which you can also access via Knitter, which I always feel weird saying, but those all have RSS. Totally. Thanks for joining. You've been here since the beginning, and I'm really glad you enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning around, or thanks for sticking around. You guys are getting angry at each other. What else is new? YouTube comments. Yeah, try Brave Search, like dead ass. I've had really good results with Brave Search, to be honest. Yeah, have you tried streaming on Odyssey? I have not. How do you disable the crypto crap in Brave? You mostly just like disable the widgets on the setup screen, and you go into settings and like click the hide Brave rewards icon. That takes care of like 90% of it. It's really easy. It doesn't take long. Will there be a recording? Yes, it'll be live after we're done. Do you plan to set up a Mastodon account? We might down the road. I'm glad you like our Matrix community. To be perfectly honest, I don't always agree with that sentiment. To be perfectly honest. But they are a lot of times a very good community, and I'm glad you think that, and that's good feedback for me. I don't think so, but I could be wrong. Yes, I'm really glad you've been around for so long. Yeah, Brave Search is great. Like try it out. We actually did a Brave Search versus DuckDuckGo comparison. It was very surface level, but it kind of gives you an idea of like some things to expect before moving over. All right, I'm all caught up. After 2 hours, I am caught up with your comments. Man, you guys, you're so slow, unbelievable. Letting me catch up. What's wrong with you guys? I'm just messing around. All right, I think I'm gonna call it in like 5 minutes. Is this gonna be a regular thing? We're gonna see. This may or may not have been a test. May or may not. iDrive for Spider Oak. It's gonna depend. I don't know. Is iDrive its own thing? Or are you talking about iCloud? Is the Google Messages app using RCS chat safer than SMS? Yes. Please do. This was fun. I'm glad you guys liked it. I definitely will consider doing it more often. I'm a big fan of you. We really appreciate what you're doing. What firewall physical firewall you recommend? Stop. I recommend, what do you mean by physical firewall? Generally speaking, I just like to use whatever firewall is like the recommended one for your operating system. Ooh, I'm still good in OBS, so we should be vibing. Do you recommend Google? I haven't used it too much. I have tried it once or twice. As for like, do I recommend it? Try it out, see if it works for you. Will you stay up or will you, it's going to stay up. Yeah, it's been 2 hours. I'm a little tired. I haven't gotten water. I'm supposed to take water breaks. Give me a sec. Never heard of iDrive, so can't really tell you what's better. iDrive seemed fine. We just took a look at it in a video. Seemed fine. Mega versus Google Drive. From a privacy perspective, Mega, if that's what you're asking. I have sent Monero for supporting last month in the comment video reaction video a few days ago. It was very good. Yeah, thank you. Again, we have our XMR address, Monero, in the description of every video, and we get a lot of tips in there. So thank you all very much for that. It might. That'd be cool. I wouldn't complain about that. As long as it's implemented properly. Oh, everyone's going off now. Oh. Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm glad you liked all the answers. Yeah, no, thanks. Thanks for watching. I, okay, I know you said I've seen your videos, but have you seen our recent video talking about private note-taking options? Because I actually just use Signal Note to Self for literally everything, and our editor, Tori, who I talked about earlier, is like the big productivity note-taking person, and she was the person who led that project. You and your team are doing an outstanding job. Thank you so much, Rico. Thank you for the donation, and I'm glad that you like what we're doing. Oh my God. Okay, I'm only gonna do this because they asked, and like, I don't mean this in a racist way. Please don't take this out of context, anybody. This was a request, and I'm gonna do it. I feel like it's a silent piece. Suptic. But I'm not gonna say the last line, just in case it's like some kind of troll. I don't think it is. Okay, Suptic. I'm gonna try Suptic. Love your videos, bro. Thank you. All right, you're just spamming now. Now I wish I didn't do it. You're ruining it. You're making me like wish I didn't do it. Come on, man. Not cool. Your comment is now showing. Yeah, and actually Kraft may have seen the video and may have reached out to us, and we may have contact with them now. Maybe. I haven't used it. It looks cool though. What's the deal with this second brain thing? I don't know, man. I was not actually in charge of that project. I didn't even write the script for that video. That was all Tori. I don't have a reminder app, and I've never used one. My name is very important. I play Minecraft. I use Obsidian because it's so customizable. It works for the... Yeah, I'm glad you like it. Thank you for doing this. Which antivirus? Microsoft Defender. Windows Defender if you're on Windows. Any other platform, you're probably good without one. What's your age, bro? Everyone guesses. Everyone guesses. And I always tell them I'm at least 70. At least. That's my only hint. At least 70. I just have a really good skincare routine. Awesome job. Love the work you do. Totally. No, and I'll try to forward that too. I'll let them know there was an overwhelming amount of positivity and love for our content. They'll like to see that. They're probably all asleep right now because we're in different time zones. We are a remote team. You are 70,000. Oh, years old. Yes. That's actually the closest guess that I've seen so far. Do you guys have self-hosting videos? No, but if you're a Patreon, you might have already seen a teaser for something we're working on. Not a teaser, but like you'll know that we're working on something. Every possible privacy issue. Like, that's like an objective, like correct answer, by the way, based on any kind of history with Facebook. There we go. Boom. All right. It's starting to slow down, everybody. Whew. All right, so I'm going to use this last little bit to shill some stuff of ours. So I'm going to go back to my amazing screen share. If you go to our website, as I mentioned several times, we have a VPN chart. You can access this by going to the VPN toolkit. We do offer consulting, but again, the consulting is very much like we might get 10 people applying. We might only let one person in. It's just because it's only me doing that and I have such limited time. We have merch. If you like some of our merch, I'm wearing it right now. This is actually the merch from like 3 years ago. We have newer designs and things like that. We have Plexus to help you switch to de-Googled Android ROMs. We have our normal video content, and also we have a lot of resources on our website. And I think the resources are something that's like kind of underrated. We have an anonymity quiz to kind of grade how secure and private you are online. These are all like YouTube embeds. And then we have some software recommendations, operating systems. And also we have external resources, because I don't think that we're the end all privacy security people. In fact, I think that you should be getting your information and resources from a ton of different people on the internet. If anyone tells you otherwise, proceed with caution. And I can't believe I'm the person who has to say that to you guys. Like, if anyone out there is telling you they're the only good source of information, you're crap. I'm tired. Your antennas should be going like straight up, like red flag. There are several great sources of information online. And also we have XMR. So you can donate to us via XMR. That's Monero, for those of you who don't know. Our address is down in the description. What else can I shill while I still have all of you guys? We need all the support we can get. Let's see. Patreon. So there was actually quite a few. I saw a lot of our patrons today in this live stream. And if you go to patreon.com/Techlore, you're going to see that we have some different things here for you. And we just recently hit one of our big goals, which is awesome. You get to be, if you donate $15 a month to us, you get to instantly be in our video outros. So that means for the end of time, you're going to be in the outros of every single one of our main videos, which is awesome. So 2 years down the road, you're still going to be in it. That's like the main stuff that I want to shill. If you can't support us, totally cool. Just you being here and like learning about privacy and security, I'm thrilled with that, right? Like the fact that we have like 163,000 people subscribed to us is just like, makes me so happy. Just seeing people just active in the community is awesome. Do Patreon videos get passed over to YouTube? We do monthly live streams with our patrons, and those are not eventually posted at all. Those are just one-on-ones with our patrons. Down the road, we are going to be posting our videos in advance for our patrons. So if you want early access to videos, that will be a thing in the coming months. No KYC VPNs. So know your customers, what they're asking. Essentially, like, can you open it privately? Guess what? Guess what, guys? You know that you're not getting out of here without one more mention of this. At least. Our VPN chart. Are you ready for this? Once Tor decides to load it. It was working before, so this isn't a Tor problem. It's just a slow problem. If you click here, and like, let's say iVPN versus Molvad, you can scroll down, and you know what you're going to find? You know what you're going to find? Anonymous signup. And we answer that for you. So you can quickly look to see what VPNs have KYC essentially. And anonymous signup essentially is only for emails and phone numbers and things like that. So if it says yes, it doesn't require any information at all to use. What OS is your PC daily driver? Like I said, I don't have a personal PC, and I said that earlier. But for the work device, it is Mac OS, because I expanded on this a lot earlier. So if you want to rewatch this live stream, I talk a lot more about the journey to get to Mac OS for our business, but not for our personal stuff. How long before you go? I'm wrapping things up. I'm sorry, Soak. But you can always rewatch it. It's going to be live afterwards if you want to like see what was talked about. Why are some VPN reviews biased? They're usually praising Nord. Nord pays well, and why is everything in the world biased? Normally there's some kind of motive. We try our best to not do biased VPN reviews. Everything in our chart is open source. Everything's based on a protocol. You can check everything on GitHub. And also, like, we take feedback. So let us know if something you don't think is accurate, and we'll try to fix it. Oh my gosh. Can an iPhone be completely de-Googled? I don't think an iPhone has Google out of the box, so I don't know what you're asking. Can I join your Patreon with crypto? Unfortunately, no, though down the road, like years from now, we really want to have our own like self-hosted place that's not like Patreon run. That is the goal. It's just people say get off Patreon, and it's like, yeah, to what? That actually integrates with everything else we do. There really isn't much out there that works well for us. But eventually the goal is to build something of our own. But that's going to take so much effort. Totally, if you do, then like send me a message. That'd be awesome. Quality looks awesome. Thank you. This man and his VPN chart. Really, though, it's more like this man needing to respond to VPN questions that are all asking the same thing that can be answered via their VPN chart, which they built because of those questions. So that's how I'd respond to that. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Make a video talking about living without a personal PC. I might. Can you try saying tuna? No, I don't trust it. I don't trust it. I'm not going to do it. Totally, I'm glad you like it. How did you learn all this? It's all self-taught. You can't get a college degree in this. You might in like InfoSec and the security end of things, but it really is just all self-taught. Find research articles, find like trusted sources of information, read through everything they've ever posted, and follow their journey, because what they posted 5 years ago likely isn't going to be accurate, but learning the context of where they've come to today, I think, is a really important thing to learn as well. It just takes a lot of time. Channel here, your channel got me into privacy. I'm so glad. Thank you. I'm glad you guys like found privacy because of us. That's really awesome. Can I see the VPN chart one last time? You know what? You can. You can. So if you go to our website, techlore.tech, and you go to the VPN toolkit, you'll find this awesome VPN chart. It's so cool. And like I've only mentioned it like once or twice today. And also you can access it not on the live stream. So you can go out right now on your browser and see it. Signing off for the night. Thanks for the live stream. Totally, Mitchell, and I hope you enjoyed it. This is my profession. This is what I do full time. Sometimes I'll do like little side gigs, but for the most part, this is my job. Boom, I am caught up. You guys suck at leaving comments. I'm just playing. Please do not leave more now. Did somebody say Foss Games? I've been hearing a lot about Pale Moon. Do you watch Linux channels? I don't watch much YouTube. I don't have time to watch YouTube. Yes, I do know other channels. If you go to our youtube.com/techlore and click on subscriptions, there are some channels we're subscribed to there that you guys might like. Yes. Yes. It's, yes. You enjoy reading our comments more than we enjoy typing. I definitely don't enjoy comments. I'd say like half our comments just make me gag. Like, I hate reading YouTube comments. Long story. I did talk about it a little bit earlier if you want to rewind. All right. It's really starting to slow down now. So I really think I'm going to call it. Oh, we got a donation. Okay. Donation question. Favorite show on Netflix? Also, good night. First, I just want to say, I hate Netflix. I hate how it autoplays everything by default. So annoying. As for my favorite show on Netflix, this is just based on like my limited use of Netflix because I don't have my own Netflix account. So it's just when I go to like other people's houses and they have Netflix. What is my favorite Netflix show? That's a good question. Man, I'm blanking. I did like Stranger Things. Stranger Things is kind of good. Very basic, but I liked season 1. It kind of just got old. It's kind of like rehashing the same crap after season 2. Wait, is there a season 3 yet? I don't even know. I stopped following it like after season 2. Lost interest. Big Mouth's kind of funny, but it's like, I don't know. It doesn't age well. I don't like Netflix. I don't know. I don't like Netflix. I did like the movie, like Don't Fuck with Cats. That was a good one. I don't know. I'm not a good person to ask for show recommendations, to be honest, if you couldn't tell by my response to this. Yeah, I'm glad. The Hated One is good content too. Are you drinking from an aluminum bottle? I believe so. Netflix is so annoying. Yeah, so I do tell people to disable it because it's so freaking annoying. What do you think about Mr. Robot? That's one of those things I need to watch. You know, that reminds me, I do like Black Mirror, and I've seen Black Mirror on Netflix, and I need to watch more of it. I've only seen the first few episodes. And everyone recommends me Mr. Robot. And I know I need to watch it because so many people have said you're going to love this to the point that I know I'm going to love it. So yes, I need to watch it. Would it be possible for you to post this and further questions on the YouTube? Yeah, like I said earlier, this is going to be live after it's done. I'm thinking of using a Google-based browser temporarily. What do you think? As long as it's set up and it's compartmentalized properly and it works with your threat model and you're only using it for things that fit with that threat model, totally fine. But again, you have to do it properly. Aluminum is probably toxic, just saying. Yeah, I don't know if it's aluminum. I have to do research on that. So thanks for letting me know. Have you not seen it and this is your job? What's your story and how you got it? Have I not seen what? Yeah, I know. I just, Mr. Robot, I think is what you're referring to. I have not seen it. First, howdy. Secondly, what's your story and how you got? I've already told my story a little bit earlier. So if you want to find that out, just rewind. Is the Pixel 4a still worth it? I like to look at phones from a value perspective, and the Pixel 4a now is down to what, like 2 years of like software updates. So if you're able to get a good deal on it and it's fine, then like cool. Also, thank you, Byte Hunter. I totally ignored that. Thank you. That's your second donation, I think, today. Your second or third. So thank you very much. So it's really going to depend on what you consider like valuable. Personally, I will probably not be using a phone with no more security updates. So I really have to look at the value proposition, which is why the Pixel 6 is so attractive for me, because it has guaranteed 5 years of software updates, with security updates, I should say. And also I can get a good deal on Black Friday. And if you do the math, it's actually cheaper than getting like the 5A. For me personally, getting the 5A and having to upgrade in 3 years. I have not seen the Smithereens episode. Ooh, good question. What's your view on blocking Google ads? I want to hit Google's ad revenue, but don't want to hurt the revenue of content creators. So this is totally personal, right? If you don't like ads on YouTube, block them and speak your voice about it. Like if we're like, it's the content creator's job to be able to offer multiple revenue sources for their audience. I feel like we do a good job of that. And honestly, I feel like most creators do a very good job of that. I think telling people to turn off ads for their channel is something you can do. And like, I think it's really awesome. People whitelist our channel. Like I've seen comments about that and that's really cool. And I respect that, but I would never have an expectation for you guys to watch our ads. However, what I tell people, if you are blocking ads on YouTube, I would say just do something for at least one of your creators that you watch consistently. If you have 5 creators that you watch every single day, find a way to support them, even if it's $1 a month. Like just do something to support those creators. That's all I'd say. And you don't have to do anything. I'm just saying, like personally, I really like to encourage people to give back in some way, at least if they're not watching ads. That's like the best thing that you can do to support a non-ad driven world. How to address statements like no one is interested in your person. I don't, that's, what kind of question is that, Arthur? What do you want me to say to that? What phone do you use? I use an Android device with a custom ROM. Hello, David. Thank you for saying hello back. What do you think about unofficial custom ROMs? Personally, I steer clear. I like to get things as close to the source as possible. Do you make money when YouTube Red subscribers view your videos? Yes. I don't know how much or what percentage, but I do see in our analytics that some of our revenue comes from YouTube Red. What is the most private and or anonymous way to send receive files? I'd probably say Onion Share is like the easiest, most accessible way to do it. Onion Share is a wonderful project. Love it. Absolutely love it. Check out Onion Share. Can custom ROMs be fingerprinted in some way? I'm not qualified to answer that. I haven't seen anything that would lead me to say yes, but I would almost like to assume there is some kind of something that can happen. But yeah, I don't feel qualified to answer that. Looks like you're really tired. Yes, I'm tired. It's 9:30 here and I'm about to log off. Definitely. Do you think Tor is really secure because we don't know who runs exit nodes? Yeah, but Tor is built in a way that it doesn't matter too much who is running the exit. That's like the whole reason to use Tor. So yes, I do think Tor is secure, and I think Tor is safe, and I think that you need to understand how Tor fits into your threat model. Are you a verified creator so I can tip Brave Bat token? Yes, we are on YouTube, on our website, techlore.tech, as well as on Twitter and on Reddit through my personal, like business personal Reddit account. I don't have a personal Reddit account. Is there a difference between Linux distros when it comes to telemetry? Mostly just out of the box concerns. Most Linux distros ask you on setup if you want to opt in. Not even Ubuntu does it by default anymore. Could be wrong on that. I have not used it in a while, but I'm fairly certain Ubuntu turned off telemetry by default, or at least it asks you. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not super certain about that. Do you still have Patreon? I'm going to start looking at... Yeah, no, totally. Patreon.com/Techlore, David. Sorry you missed it, but this will be live after I log off, so you'll still be able to rewatch the live stream. How much do you get from YouTube Red? I subscribe because I hate ads, but still want to support you. I can't tell you how much, but what I will tell you is we actually do see a higher percentage of the income from YouTube Red. So if you are using YouTube Red, we actually technically are probably getting more than if you were watching ads. And also you are in a way still bypassing the ad industry by using YouTube Red. So it is a question of values and what you're comfortable with. I'm not going to tell you what to do and what not to do, but I do think that if your goal is to avoid the advertising world, YouTube Red isn't a terrible solution to that, but it comes at the cost of like trusting Google. Is there any tech you feel you're missing out on by being privacy conscious? No, and the reason for that, I'm very lucky to say this. I'm a digital minimalist at heart, so I really don't get like incentivized by seeing all this crazy new tech. And that's not like a common thing. I do know that. Like most normal people like really like seeing the newest tech. I'd say for me, I'm really a big sucker for like raw performance. So when I see like these new SoCs coming out from Apple that are just like completely blowing everything out of the water, like I start drooling a little bit, not actually, but like it's very fun to see. So I'm kind of a performance nut. But outside that, like, no, I'm not that attracted to most technology nowadays. What email service do you use? I won't mention what I use for my personal life, but for the business, we use ProtonMail for everything. You don't get pumped up for VR? I do not. I'm not into gaming. Like, I've tried VR and I'm like, cool. I'll wait for it to be a little bit better. That's about it. It's really expensive to get into as well. Options about opinion about MicroG. I think it's good. Open source project, nice. Overall, like great project. I have not used YouTube Vancid, though I can tell you YouTube Vancid is not as privacy friendly as people think it is. Which country are you and your team from? We're all US. We aren't local though, so we're all remote, but we're in the US. ProtonMail versus Tutanota. Try both. Not everything is like an or. You can even use both. Like try both. See which one works better for you. For our business, ProtonMail is like hands down a winner. Like the business plan for ProtonMail is like so much better than Tutanota's. But try out both. I don't care what email provider you guys use. That's like something you have to tell people. Are there any major actions you do to maintain privacy and security IRL outside of the digital realm? Yes, but there's not much I can share for obvious reasons. What will happen to Tor browser bundle if the extensions in it get compromised? I mean, it only comes with like 2 extensions, I think, HTTPS everywhere and uBlock. Or does it come with uBlock Origin or just no script? No, I think uBlock Origin's included on Tails or something like that. Either way, it should be safe. I wouldn't, that's like one of the smallest concerns I'd be thinking about with Tor. I've just found your channel. Any recommendations regarding your videos? I would recommend starting with our Become Anonymous guide. Just type in, you might not even need to type Techlore, just type in Become Anonymous on YouTube and our video should pop up. It's a great starting point. It's really just kind of like a broad dive into like literally everything we talk about, all in one like 30-ish minute video. If you want to be a little bit more extensive, we have a Go Incognito video that's 4.5 hours long. It's free on YouTube. There's a paid version as well with some extra tips and like bonus content and things like that. But overall, like the free version has most of the things you need. Those are probably the two best starting places that I would like push you towards. And if you're looking for something a little bit more like bare bones and something like simplified, we have a privacy for beginners video. So if you're looking for like just a broad, all-encompassing, quicker video, Become Anonymous guide, about 30 minutes. If you're looking for a really deep dive, check out Go Incognito, front to back, 4.5 hours. And if you're looking for like a super quick, like I just want to get started today, check out our Privacy for Beginners video. It's about 8 minutes, I think. Is it even, oh, we have a verified person here. All right. Is it even possible to actually maintain privacy on social media? Are anonymous social media accounts private at all? Or is it unless, so you really need to define anonymous here. Like we have Twitter set up and it's set up in a way that maintains my personal privacy because it's all tied to the business. That's just a really easy example of how like things are compartmentalized in a way that fits my threat model. So your first step is to develop a threat model and understand how each social media site can fit into that threat model. That's why this stuff is so nuanced and it's so dependent on who you are and it's very personalized. So yes, I will say there is a way to maintain privacy on social media depending on your threat model and depending on which platforms you're able to use to fit that threat model. That's what I would tell you. Thanks for giving me content to upload on my YouTube channel. I don't know. Oh, are you going to upload something I said or did today? Go off. I hope you have fun with that. We still have 164 viewers. That's crazy. Like, it's crazy how much we've grown. I remember when we were like doing 20 people, like 20 was a max. And now we're just casually doing 165. And yeah, I'm probably going to log off soon though. I'm really tired. Did you just ask what's the best Tor client for Windows 10? Where would you get it? From the Tor browser bundle website, like the only Tor client you should ever use? That is like the objectively correct answer. Please only use Tor browser bundle. How long have you been on YouTube? Man, I think we started uploading in 2014. December 2014. It's been like 6+ years. It's been a while. Thank you, Henry. Thank you guys. Thanks, Turtle. Thanks, Rice. I hope I said that right. Yeah, and you know what? Like, we haven't talked about this specifically, like head on directly. But if you watch our Become Anonymous guide in our course Go Incognito, you should have like the understanding in order to make this assessment. But yes, we should do something that like talks about it more directly. I mean, yeah, it's a pretty easy, like we get the comments like that all the time. Like, LOL, you're saying to delete Google on Google. But like, I would fight back on this, Mickey. Do you know what I find more ironic than posting on Google to delete Google? Posting on a non-Google platform to delete Google. You know why I think that's more ironic? Because let's say you're using something like Reddit and you're telling people to delete Facebook. I feel like a lot of Reddit users might have already deleted Facebook, right? Do you know where 100% of the people are going to have the platform that you're telling them to delete on? The actual platform. So if you're on YouTube and you're telling people to delete Google, literally 100% of the people with accounts that are subscribed to you are going to have Google accounts. You're literally targeting the people directly. And that's why like our whole slogan is spreading privacy to the masses. Like we're trying to put ourselves out there and spread this mission of ours to everyone. So yes, I do fight back on that. I almost find it more ironic to be touting how like you should avoid privacy-centric services, or how you should avoid privacy-invasive services on services that are already privacy-centric. So you're like totally missing like the audience that you should be targeting there. That's my opinion. Yeah, that was like so dragged out and it didn't need to be that complex, which tells me I'm like really getting tired because I'm just rambling and I can't put together like a good cohesive sentence. Which video were you surprised did really well? Oh my God, that's a great question. Let me look. I will say a lot of our surveillance reports consistently surprise me. Like I'll just put out a random surveillance report. Surveillance reports are produced within a 24-hour period, most of them. And so like it's just nonstop. Like it's recorded, boom, one of us is editing it, we edit it, we upload it, we get a thumbnail together, we have to do the MP3 for the podcast, boom, we upload it everywhere, we try to time it so everything goes live at the same time. 24 hours, done, bam. Then I check it the next day and it's like, holy crap, it's outperformed the videos that we spend 2 weeks on. So like that's kind of, I would say, generally speaking, the videos that consistently surprise me. People love the surveillance reports. So yeah. Your surveillance reports are definitely one of my favorite series on the internet. I'm glad you like it. I didn't think people would love it that much. And surveillance report was created just like literally spontaneously. I was just sitting and I was working on a video and I go, what if we did news? Like Tech Quickie, but better for privacy and security, not actually better. I think Tech Quickie is fantastic. But like from a privacy security perspective, how could we do this similar to Tech Quickie, but like better for our specific field? And so, boom, right there, I just like got out my camera and I thought about what to do and I put a little script together. And that's the first surveillance report, which is like totally different from what it is today. But it was a spontaneous decision that led to something that I very much think is important and I really enjoy now. Yeah, thanks for all the like comments about the surveillance report. Like it means a lot. Um, how did the collab with the new oil start? I feel like we should ask him that sometime because he was completely responsible for it. He reached out. We got on the phone. I asked him some questions. I checked out his podcast. But yeah, he pretty much initiated everything and asked like, what do you think about combining? Because the new oil had his own podcast that was the same exact thing. It was weekly news. And we approached it very similarly. So yeah, I would ask him though. He probably would answer that a little bit better than me. Your face when you're reading comments, gold. I wish you guys can see when I read like actual YouTube comments on our normal videos because most of them just make me go, oh my God. Though it's funny because I'd say like so many comments that you guys leave, I screenshot and we definitely like laugh about them. No offense, but we do laugh about a lot of your guys' comments in our like team chat amongst ourselves. Some of them we laugh because some of you guys are genuinely hilarious and some of them are funny because it's like really off the rails conspiracy level stuff that we're just like, wow, this person has like really lost it. But it's, I guess, entertaining a little bit in a messed up way. It's still something that should be addressed seriously though. But yeah. Proof you should apply the surveillance report ideology and editing technique to the rest of your videos and save yourself time. Yeah, so things like what I'm doing right now are actually extremely good for time because I'm just, every minute that I'm spending streaming is a minute that is being used for content. So yes, we are actually doing that. And that's actually a big reason for the recent comparison videos like Brave versus Firefox, which uses a spreadsheet format. The spreadsheet format is kind of influenced from our surveillance report format a little bit. So like we are taking that advice. I know you're not a big fan of Telegram, but what do you think is better or less bad? Check out, go to youtube.com or PeerTube or whatever, type in our PeerTube instance and go Techlore messenger comparison. And you will have a fantastic long video answer as to why certain things are better or not as, or worse than Telegram and when, oh my God, and when they do that. Just watch the video. It's a great video and it really dives into like the pros and cons of every messenger out there, including WhatsApp. Thanks for your time tonight. Thank you for tuning in, Turtle. You look tired. I am tired. You probably give commentary that probably shouldn't be known. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I probably shouldn't mention that I laugh at some of your guys' comments. I met a guy a few days ago that literally wears tinfoil hats. Yeah. And you know what? Maybe they're right. I still like to like look and like really analyze what people are saying to see if there's some truth to it based on like the information we have today. Yeah. Henry looks like a preschool teacher. Yeah, sometimes it feels like that. Do you trust Mega's end-to-end encryption storage? I do. We use it for our production workflow. God bless you for your work. Thank you. I'm glad you like what we do. I love how you both read the same article, but differently. The realism of how people can see and read the same thing. But yeah, that's kind of something fun. We're starting to keep more of the rambling and discussions that we have for those advanced reports to kind of like outline some more of those differences. Suggest me. Suggest me. What do you need, NetWriter? Suggest me. I haven't used it. Not many thoughts on it. Is Windows 11 more privacy focused than Windows 10? I would just assume there's very little to no difference. Okay. I'm starting to realize now that this is just never going to end until I officially say this is going to end. So, I think I should put an end to it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put an end to it. Okay, again, one final thing. So I'm actually shutting the chat. So that's it. I'm not gonna read the chat anymore. It probably will disappear now from OBS. Right? Boom. Look at that. Oh, I'm cut off. Oh my God. Oh my God, it cuts off. Let me fix that. Actually, well, I'm just gonna do a screen share. There. So before I log off for the night, first off, thank you everyone who tuned in. This is like so cool. I haven't live streamed in so long, and seeing how much support we have in the live streams is just phenomenal. And thank you for all your requests, all of your questions. Tired Henry is gonna try to finish this up with as few stutters as possible. Go to our website, techlore.tech. Check out the stuff we do, or don't. I don't care. But if you do look at it, we have some really cool VPN resources. It's open source. We have other resources like Plexus to help you move to de-Googled operating systems on your phones. We have consulting for some of you. Again, very, very limited. We don't have very much time and energy to dedicate to it, but we do work with very few clients. We do have merchandise on our store. And we also have Go Incognito, our course. So if you really like the approach that we have and the very like nuanced view on privacy and security, you're really gonna like Go Incognito. Go Incognito is actually free to watch. We have a free and a premium version. And the free version, you're gonna learn so much. The premium version, you're gonna learn maybe 5–10% more. The premium version has quizzes and some other things to really help you retain the information better. But the goal isn't to paywall privacy and security information. So both of these are extremely great options for you. The premium is more of just a support method for people who want to help us out, because it is ultimately a free project, and the free one is under Creative Commons. So like you can do anything you want with it. There's even a torrent. You can do anything you want with these files. And here's like a course overview. It's very in-depth. And that's really it. Also like basic YouTube stuff, man. Like subscribe, like our content, share it around, join our communities. We have Discord and Matrix. Check it out down below. We support Monero for donations, and you can find that in the description of every video, or you can go to our website support page. And also we're on Patreon, patreon.com/Techlore. Certain tiers allow you to be in the outro of every single one of our videos. We accept BAT. We're on PayPal reluctantly. Some people use PayPal. We really just try to open ourselves up to every way you can support us. So if there's anything you can do to support us, thank you very much. And also thank you to everyone who donated in this live stream. Many of you donated a lot of money to us today, and that is freaking awesome. As for the future, this was kind of a test run, and I wanted to see how this was going to pan out. And overall, I think this live stream went really well. So we will be thinking over in the near future how we might do these more often. So please leave your feedback if you liked this, and we may do it more often down the road. Could be a monthly thing, bi-weekly, we don't know yet. But either way, thank you very much for tuning in. That's going to end this live stream. You can always rewind it to the beginning if you want to go through all the questions. Thank you all for your questions along the way. You guys really kept the stream going. I didn't have to do anything outside to answer your questions, which I love doing. I love sharing my thoughts on things. And that's really it. Thank you for tuning in to Techlore. I will see you guys next time.